Hey, Packer fans, and those of us who are oblivious or just carrying on like the Green Bay Packers are trying to carry on. Ben, it's Matt LaFleur's birthday today, and the Packers did like flag football and all
Yeah.
these distraction things to take you away from the fact that their GM just screwed over their team. And because this is not just trading one player, this is a ripple effect, and we're seeing what we didn't have the other night when we talked was the reaction from players on this team and people from the media questioning the GM. And now we've gotten to see all that, and you're just like, whoa, you opened a big can here, and not a can of whoop ass, Brian Gutekunst. It's a can of worms, and those worms are getting everywhere right now.
Well, we might be able to call Gutekunst. He might have changed his name to Captain Insano because he does insane moves. But it's not because he's opening up a can of whoop ass. It's because he's opening up a can of shit ass. Open up a can of barf. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
No,
I mean, it's,
and he also thinks that he's the supreme chancellor of all things knowledge football wise, right? He thinks he knows best.
It's time for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valerum. I mean, let's go. That's already 2 movie quotes in the first couple minutes here.
I know.
Granted, one is the Water Boy, and the other is, of course, Star Wars. Which one was it? Star Wars? Oh yeah, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. That's when that was from.
That's
Chancellor Valerum.
I wish that's kind of what Goody's like. He's a
Goody's like
menace.
Goody's like Jar Jar Binks. That's what Goody is. He has no clue what the hell's going on. Ooh, me a poop, step in a poopa. Ooh, ew. He's that was actually more Scooby Doo, I guess. But anyways, I can't do a Jar Jar. I'm not dumb enough. I have an announcement to make, but I'm gonna.
I want to cry like a number of these Packer players did when they heard Rasul Douglas was traded and talked to him. Apparently, there were tears shed because he cared about them and they cared about him. I want to cry, but I'm laughing instead because it's the only other thing I can do.
I did not know that apparently Aaron Jones and Rasul Douglas had some kind of weird cosmic connection.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they're my 2 favorite guys. How does that happen? I never knew that. But apparently before the draft, they kind of like trained together and got along or something and had some kind of connection or whatever. And I don't know. Rasul said at his Bill's press conference that, he said like, nobody was usually at the facility on Tuesdays, but he was, because of course he's working hard and studying like he always does as a leader and a good guy. And he said that he's like, yeah, most guys aren't there. And like, there were guys who came into the facility after they heard just to see me because they heard I was there. And that's kind of cool. Now, Aaron Jones is always there because he's always working hard too. So, those 2 guys are always there working hard. But I never knew that. And Aaron Jones said he took it pretty hard, and him and, and then you say, I did not, I guess I didn't recognize this quote. Do you have the actual sound bite?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We got it.
So whenever you want to play that soundbite, that's a great soundbite. But I just want to start with an announcement.
Okay,
this is my announcement for the rest of all time, starting today. At the start of the press conference, I have to apologize to Andy Herman. I've been giving him shit for calling Rasul, which he still does to this day because he's mentioned him at least 17 times on every show this week after he's been traded, and he still calls him that. Poor Mark Tauscher is calling him that on Wildy and Tausch. But it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I'm going to tell you why it's not their fault. Because at the start of the press conference for Brian Gutekunst, the first thing he said was he talked about the Rasul trade. The Rasul trade. Not the Rasul trade. The Rasul trade. Brian Gutekunst, the guy who is the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, does not take the time to learn how to pronounce players on his own team's names.
You mean this smug asshole right here?
Yeah, that guy. So I was just thinking about it. I was like, I wonder how he would feel if people, when they referenced him, never pronounced his name properly. And then I was back to our Jordan Love video when Jordan Love was drafted, and during it, I said, "Did Ryan Johnson get a hold of the Packers draft room and ruin the Packers draft?" Remember what I said? I was like, "What is going on? Is it just like the Last Jedi?" I was like, "Why is Luke sucking on the or drinking the milk from
Yeah.
that weird alien's boobs and all this?" And
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson is known through a lot of the Packer or through the Star Wars fans as Ruin Johnson because he ruined Luke Skywalker. So I am from now on, because apparently Brian Gutekunst cannot pronounce his players on his team's names correctly. And he's the reason why all these guys are saying his name wrong. I mean, if he introduced him as Razul from the first time when he said his name, and he's still saying it to this day,
Right.
I can't blame Andy Herman and any other reporter for saying the names wrong. That's what they're hearing from him. Now, Matt LaFleur says his name right.
Mhm.
Actually, he just calls him Sewell most of the time because that's what all the other guys call him.
You would think that would clue you in because
Yeah.
people call him Sewell. You would think that you might pick up on that if you gave a shit. But
So I am now only going to refer to the general manager of the Green Bay Packers for as long as he is the general manager, which hopefully isn't very long,
I don't think
as
so.
Bruin Gutekunst. And actually, I'm going to call him just like all the. I'm not going to pronounce his last name correctly. I'm going to pronounce it like a lot of other people do. What do they say? Gutekunst. They say Gutekunst.
Gutekunst. Yeah.
So I'm gonna. He is Bruin Gutekunst. That is what his name is, according to me. Because if he can't say Rasul's name correctly after he's been there for 2 years, making plays left and right and being awesome, I am not going to pronounce his name correctly. So Bruin Gutekunst can lick my ass, and hopefully they fire him because he is an asshole. And maybe Aaron Rodgers is right. I don't know. I hate Aaron Rodgers, so I'm glad he's gone. But he was right. He says he doesn't return phone calls to people he doesn't like. And you know what? Aaron Rodgers and I finally have something in common. We both don't like Bruin Gutekunst.
That's
good news.
Here. He's joining you a little bit late, so you caught the tail end of that. You'll have to recap. Ben was just first of all, we started off with Adam Sandler movie reference and then a Star Wars movie reference. We were really on some good ones there early on, Viking Moe. So you might want to go back and watch the first minutes of the show just for that part.
I'll do that.
And then what happened was we just said, well, Ben had an announcement because we have compared our general manager to Ryan Johnson. Ben said, and he explained how Star Wars people call him Ruin Johnson. So now, and he can't pronounce like good players' names correctly or anybody because he doesn't give a crap. So we also are mispronouncing his name on purpose. Moving forward.
And Mo, your mic is super hot. Holy crap!
It is really loud. Check your settings, and if it's on like,
is that better?
No.
Oh,
if it's on like, go into the audio settings, and if it's on like auto adjust, maybe just put it at like 90% or 85 or something like that. That's what I do because mine was hot times 2 other weeks. It's just audio setting adjust.
Just this week, you're trying to.
How's this? Is this better?
It's better, but it's still louder than crap.
Okay.
Yeah, turn it down a little bit.
How about now?
A little more.
How about now?
That's pretty good.
Oh, better. That's good. We want a good mix, and I can't control of our sound right here, so you have to do it individually.
I mean, you sound about the same as Jason right now.
Okay.
But nobody cares about that. What we want to hear from is this arrogant asshole who happens to be the Packers GM, because we're going to reference what Ben just said. I wanted to play that because it was kind of annoying, but also I want you to look at his smug ass face right here, and then watch how quickly he pivots to thinking, oh my God, well, we'll pause maybe a couple times, but let's just hear from this jerkwad. Say his name again, Ben.
Bruin Gutekunst.
Okay, Bruin Gutekunst. Here's what he had to say with his big press conference after he made the move. Yeah, as if no one was going to ask him any questions about Rasul Douglas.
I think we should call him Bruin Gutekunst. We're going to change it to that.
It does kind of look like that.
It's even worse, but it fits his personality better.
Okay, here we go. Why
don't you play this soundbite from Bruin?
Okay.
Real quick as we get started, I just want to take a little time to talk about Razul.
Who's that? Who's Razul? I don't know who that is.
Razul.
Who's Razul? Bruin Gutekunst? I have no idea who you're talking about. Bruin, can you maybe check the frickin' pronunciation of your own players? Bruin? Okay, back.
No, he's 4 seconds in. He's 4 seconds in. So let's
I know,
see how.
But I can't.
How long
as soon as I heard that, I shut off. I did not hear anything else he said. I was so pissed. I was like, really?
I know exactly, but I want to see how long it takes him to turn this into being about him. So let's
Okay,
keep
all right.
listening.
That sounds good. That sounds
Thank him for his time here, all the the work, and the
all that.
leadership that he provided us. Obviously,
Okay, he just started. Obviously, at 11 seconds. Here, listen.
that was a nice practice squad signing in the middle of the season.
What a smug asshole that within 11 seconds, all of a sudden he's like, obviously it was a great signing in the middle of the season by me because I'm a fucking genius. What an asshole.
I don't think you see those too many often. So very appreciative of him.
Yeah. Okay. So can't pronounce his name right. And I look down and look away when I'm saying, like, supposedly saying nice things like, oh, we want to thank him and appreciate him. And what an asshole. All right. You want to hear more from this jerkwad about some bull crap? I will say this press conference, Ben, he got asked some pretty good questions. Like the Green Bay media has stepped it up this year. Have you noticed that? They've really stepped it up. They're asking a lot better
I don't know if
questions.
they stepped it up to the point that I would like.
Well, I know, but
it's a little better, I guess.
It's definitely better than it was. All right. Well, here's a good one. Here's the good one that came out because then he got asked a lot of questions. He said things multiple times. He's going to say it here coming up in a second. So I just we'll hear him say it again after this. But then he just was lying through his teeth about all these things. I hope, because otherwise he's just a really terrible talent evaluator. But let's hear what he says right here.
The part I'm curious about is, I saw Rasul on Monday in the corner of the locker room.
Jesus Christ. The freaking media says his name correctly right back to this asshole, and he still doesn't listen to say it right.
And Wildy purposely when I saw Rasul, like he said it kind of louder just to be, like, hey, can you say his name right too? And usually I don't like Wildy, but he definitely, let him have it there a little bit. That's nice, Jason Wildy.
All right, here we go.
Room with Vikes and Valentine, and he was clearly talking to them, kind of trying to build them up and say, hey, we got to get our act together, right? He walked off the field with Jordan, trying to kind of pump him up too. I'm wondering, do you have to consider when you're weighing this trade what the message is to the locker room for the guys that are in there now? Sure. And what do you think that message is or how that gets received?
Yeah, no, you consider all those things. I think you consider all those things. And quite frankly, at the beginning, that's why I said no. I'm like, yeah, not, for what was being offered, it didn't make any sense. But once it got to a certain point, there's some offers you can't refuse in this.
Some offers you can't refuse, Ben. What was that great offer again?
Okay. It was the original offer was a 5th round pick, I guess, last week. The Bills GM said that on his press conference. Or something like that. Or I heard that from somewhere. And he did contact the Packers last week about it. And Brian told him, Bruin Gutenkunst told him no. So it was then turned into, as we all know, the 3rd round pick for Rasul and a 5th round pick, which equals giving away Rasul for a swap of like 40 to 50 draft positions. Really, because it's going to be a low end 3rd round pick that we're going to get, and we're going to give them obviously a high 5th round pick because we suck ass. So therefore, it's really not. What is that? What is that the equivalent of? Like nothing. I mean, I said
terrible draft pick that he's likely going to screw up.
Right.
For a really good player.
It's about the same that we used to trade up to trade up 4 spots to get Jordan Love. So it's worth 4 spots in the lower 1st round. It's about the same as we did for trade up from a compensatory pick up about 10 spots in the 3rd round. When we added a 4th round to move up to get Amari Rodgers. So you're telling me Rasul Douglas is only worth 3 or 4 picks of a up move, a pick swap of 2 or 3 picks in the 1st round. That's what he's worth. And in the lower end of it, you gave him away. We gave him away for nothing.
Ben, and he also said though, quote Brian Bruin
Gutenkunst. Yeah.
Long term, it's going to be in our best interest. Anytime you get a 3rd round pick that's going to be within the top 100, that's probably going to be in the top 50 players you have on your board. Now, I'm not sure. I'm not great at math, but if you got a player in the top 100 picks, I don't know how that player is in your top 50 your board is really effed up then, I would suspect. But that's what he said. Just quote, too good to pass up, Ben. Too good to pass up.
Whatever.
Viking Moe, what do you think? Was it too good to pass up?
It was too
If
good
you-
for the Bills to pass up. Is that what you're asking me?
If you were a Viking,
Yeah.
if you were the Vikings GM,
I would make that trade. I would
well,
definitely.
I know you'd make that trade. Anyone would. What would you have traded for a really good starting cornerback that you could then plug into your team and would be a leader and a really good player?
And he's also only going to cost you roughly between 700 to 900,000 on the cap this season, and
Yep.
only 6,000 on the cap
6.5.
next year.
6
So he's
million,
under
yeah.
contract
6.5
for
million, right?
6 million, 6 million, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's under
Yeah.
contract all of next year plus half of this year,
Mhm.
and he's going to help you on a run where you actually lost. Well, in this case, the Bills lost their starting corner earlier in the season, so they need a starting corner really bad.
Yeah.
So we'll take all those things into consideration too, and it's you asking for the player.
Mhm.
So usually when you're the seller, you get a little
Right.
bit more because the buyer is more desperate, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would have been fine with giving up considering he's not really that old yet. I mean,
He's
it's
28, 29 years old.
I mean, and you got, I'd probably give up a third round pick just for
Straight up.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably
I would
where
be
I
okay with that.
be pretty happy with that.
Not to
So-
mention that he is big enough at 6'2", 209 that he could convert to safety if he slows down a little bit to play
Sure.
corner. And his instincts and ball skills are like top of the line. So
Super
you'd love
smart
to have him
player.
at safety. Yeah.
And obviously a great leader. Not many people are happy that he's gone in that locker room.
This is
I know
it's
you guys would
crazy.
be unhappy tonight. I texted you I was honestly checking in to see how you were doing because when I heard that, I'm like, oh my gosh, they must be freaking out.
Well,
Sorry.
there were plenty of other guys that are freaking out, Eric. This is the aftermath. We did the show on Tuesday after this happened, but we didn't get to have all this stuff, that bull crap sound from Brian Bruin, Gutenkunst. And we also didn't have all the Packers players' reactions to it at that point. Now we do. And there are a lot of guys who are awesome, key, good players for this team who this did not sit well with one bit. So you take that into account. And then you also take into account that other players are seeing this. Other players that all the time, the reporter referenced it, how he was talking to these guys. He was talking to the young guys. He's helping the receivers out, the cornerbacks out. Guys come to him and talk to him, ask him questions. Everybody in that locker room knows that he was a guy you could trust, a guy who worked his butt off, who was playing really well. And then you basically, they're not dumb. I mean, they know the value of the draft picks and this and that. Like they know it was basically a giveaway. You did not get much. I mean, I told Ben, like, really what I thought it was they got a third and a fifth for him. That's what I thought I saw because I glanced at it and I was like, I don't like it, but I guess. And then I found out, no. They only got one pick, the third, and they gave a fifth and him. It's like, that's not, you didn't get a lot there at all. And you
The thing
gave
I
up
want to
a really good player.
the thing I want to touch on that's interesting to me, and it shows the lack of leadership with the coaching staff as well as the players that Bruin Gutenkunst has drafted over the last 6 seasons. How did a guy who got there only 2 years ago off of the practice squad of the Arizona Cardinals within 2 years become such an important leader on the team that all these guys are affected by it the way they're talking? You can't tell me that Kenny Clark, who's been here for years, doesn't have that same type of leadership ability? Drafted by the Packers? You're telling me Jair Alexander, the self-proclaimed greatest cornerback in the NFL, doesn't have that leadership ability or the ability to lead and be? I mean, he's getting paid 4 times what Rasul makes. So he should be 4 times the leader, right? But he doesn't have the impact that this guy, who just showed up 2 years ago, already had on the team. That speaks volumes as to what Bruin Gutenkunst is drafting. He's only drafting athletic guys, and that's it. They're not leaders. They're not football players. They're just physical freaks that run fast and jump high. And that doesn't equal to playing football well. It equals to you looking good coming off the bus. Yeah, Rashawn Gary looks like a monster. Lucas Van Ness looks like a giant. He's Hercules, right?
Yeah.
But is he making plays out there?
Absolutely
No,
not.
he's not. He doesn't get on the field all that much. But I mean, you know what I'm saying?
He's been out there more, and he's not getting anywhere. He's not really showing consistent pressure. That's for sure.
What scares me is that
Mm.
you take away a guy who I thought, I like Rasul because he seemed like a good guy to me. And even they asked him about it because with all the reaction, the Bills media asked him at the press conference today or yesterday, whatever it was. They're like, so a lot of the Packers players are saying how important you were to the team and how, what a great leader you were and how, you helped the young guys and helped kind of keep the glue. Like one of the guys called you the glue. I think it was Jair called him the glue that held the secondary together.
No, it's Keyshawn.
Oh, Keyshawn called him that? Okay.
Yeah.
But even Jair said good things about him. But
did you notice how what he mentioned his guys though? He didn't mention Jair.
Oh no,
he mentioned Aaron
he did
Jones,
mention Savage though.
Savage, and he mentioned Keyshawn because those are his guys.
Yeah. K9,
no mention of Jair
or Stokes. But anyways, so I was just saying that, and the Bills asked him about the leadership thing, and they were like, and he was like, I don't need to be a leader. I'm not really, I don't really say much, It's like those guys were asking me questions and I was just telling them what I was feeling. They see me working hard and doing my thing and I try to help them out. But this team's got a lot of great leaders. I don't have to be that role here. I'll just come in, I'll do what they want. I'll play hard, make plays the best I can on the ball and fit in here the best I can. That's pretty much what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy that
we got him, and we'll hear from him in a second because Lee brought this up. He's like, well, first of all, Lee had a lot of good comments here. Lee said that Rasul wasn't soft enough for Joe Barry's defense. Maybe that was it. David said he understood the trade or understood why they traded him. And don't, but David, when you look at it again, the thing I'll say to you is we said it the other night, the Packers have been drafting corners for years and years and years and never getting it right. This guy was a really good player who was playing very well, who was under contract for this whole season and the next season and at a very low rate, especially considering the quality of his play. And he's a core leader. And he was a guy that one of your only veteran guys who was doing anything on the defense. And they gave him away and they didn't get much for him. So that's why the trade doesn't make sense. Also because, and on top of it, you've got all these cornerbacks injured at the moment. So a lot of it just doesn't make sense. But here, Lee brought this up about did you hear how Goody let him know when his office is literally like 30 steps away or something like that? Here it is. Yeah. Lee said, did you guys hear how Goody called Rasul to tell him he was traded when his office is like 30 steps away from his? So let's hear what Rasul's recollection. They asked him at his Bills press conference about how he heard about it. And this is what he said.
What was your reaction?
My initial reaction at first, because Goody called me at first, I thought it was like a joke for me because he ain't say too much. He just was like, we're trading you. And then like it was over. The conversation was over. I just hung up. You know what I mean? And then like I'm sitting there and then like Mark Murphy called me and like he got a voice that's like, it's him. So I'm like, oh, nah, this ain't no joke. He was like, yeah, we're trading you to the Bills. He was like, man, I just want to say I appreciate you. Thank you for everything. And I just like, oh, okay. He's like, man, just come up here, see everybody real quick before you go.
So that's how our great GM with great people skills lets the guy know, just says, we're trading you and nothing else. To the point where the player who's been really good and playing really well for him thinks it's a joke and doesn't believe it.
Well, I could see why he probably thought it was a joke because he probably answered the phone and he was like, hello. And then the guy on the other end said, hey, Rasul, we're trading you. And he that's why I probably thought it was a joke because like, the guy didn't even say his name right. So I can totally understand why he thought that was a joke. But
oh my God.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's fine. I mean, listen, I know a lot of the Packer fans that watch the show or watch Packer stuff are like, what are we talking about here? Rasul Douglas is a 29-year-old guy who is pretty good. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's not an all-star type player. Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not that big of a hairy deal. The team stinks. As Brian or David is saying, the Packers did Rasul a favor by getting him the hell out of town. And it's true. Like, this is a favor, having him go play with a bunch of great players. He gets to play with Micah Hyde all the time. And Rasul said that in his press conference. He's like, yeah, a lot of the guys back in Green Bay told me, to make sure I, get real close to Micah Hyde. He'll get me on the right track and stuff like that. And
which, by the way, did you see how big Micah Hyde's like been working out a lot? He looks way bigger than he did when I met him back in. Yeah.
Well, he's got to be like 32.
Guns,
He's got to be like 32 years old by now, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, but
he was
when
4
I met
years.
him, I think I was like bigger. I think I was a little more ripped than Micah Hyde at that moment.
Okay.
Back in 20.
Okay. No.
But
no.
but I got visual. I find I'll pull up the pictures. We'll do a side by side.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but like now he's got big guns. He's looking good. Anyway, go ahead. Continue on. Sorry, I probably threw you off there.
I don't even know what the heck I was talking about. I was just saying. I don't know what I was talking about. But yeah, people are probably like, why do we still talk about Mo? people are probably like, why are we still talking about this? And it's like, listen, he's my favorite guy, so shut the hell up. We're going to talk about him as long as I want. I'm going to talk about him until the freaking cows come home, because obviously it affected a lot of the guys.
It did.
It affected even the great Jair Alexander was somewhat affected by it.
Wow.
And he thinks he's the best.
He does think he's the best by
far.
He's
been told that he's the best. Bruin Gutenkunst has been telling everybody he's the best, just like he tells everybody that Josh Myers is the best. And
hang on, we'll get to that. I got the sound.
We gotta play that. Let's get it out. That's one of the best parts.
The other reason we're talking about this, and then we're going to get to more of the Brian Gutekunst Lion and
what
evaluation.
Bruin Gutenkunst?
I'm sorry, Bruin. Yep, sorry, him.
Thank you.
The other reason we're talking about it is because this affected a lot of players. Keyshawn Nixon, which you cannot find the video of this because the Packers don't have it on their website, and other people, it's hard to find. So you have to find the quotes. Keyshawn Nixon said, "quote," when asked about it, and this was, he said, "I don't really have." He said, I don't really have a reaction. I'm really lost for words. I understand it's a business, but I'm still sick to my stomach, honestly. Then he went on to say, Rasul was somebody who stabilized the locker room. Big part of what we was preaching and coaching as a team, and now he's gone. That's from Keyshawn Nixon, an important player on your team. And then Aaron Jones was asked about it. And Aaron Jones has kind of an interesting story that Ben was talking about before that he kind of alluded to. But I just love the opening to this because I want to hear Viking Moe's reaction to the opening of this. I want all Packer fans to think about this. We're going to pause because it's pretty great when you really think about it, because this is Aaron Jones right here. You know him. Awesome guy, awesome Packer. But this is what he had to say following Rasul Douglas being traded.
Moment I've never had like really anybody that close to me get traded.
So, did everybody hear that? Okay.
Did you hear that, Mo? What did he say, Mo?
You never had someone that close to him get traded.
Wasn't there a guy traded?
Yeah, wasn't there a guy traded?
Somebody there was a trade somewhere recently.
I think there was a trade. There was like a trade just last year, and then there was another trade. Like,
was it someone that handed him the ball a lot?
Yeah, I don't know, but apparently he wasn't that close to him.
You had to be pretty close to give someone a ball. Right?
I know. That is amazing. I love
Aaron
that
Jones.
quote.
Was that calculated? Like,
I think it's just
right there.
But
he's
the
just being
line
honest. He's just being honest.
Listen, we talked about it many times. Whenever somebody would ask Aaron Jones, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a great leader." And they'd be like, "Well, Aaron Jones, can you give us a example of him being a great leader?" And Aaron Jones would say the exact same thing every time about his rookie year, how Rodgers, the first time he came in the game, and Rodgers went up, before the play, after he called the play or whatever, and he was like, "All right, I believe in you, man. We need you to make a play out here, blah, blah, blah." And Aaron Jones took that as being Aaron Rodgers being a great leader. And he talked about it every time someone asked him for the next freaking 7 years that he played with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I can guarantee Aaron Rodgers probably said that to every single rookie that ever took the field with him in the huddle on their first play. So I don't know why that matters to Aaron Jones so much, but apparently it did, and it does. but I'm pretty sure that's not Aaron Rodgers being a great leader. That's Aaron Rodgers just being positive to a new guy who's getting his first time playing in the game.
Who he
And
knows he
Aaron,
needs.
but Aaron
to
Jones,
do
but Aaron
that.
Jones is such a good guy, and so a little bit gullible that he took it and ran with it as being like Aaron Rodgers is a great leader. But that's the only time for years and years. Every time he'd be on Rich Eisen show, he'd be on something else. He'd be like, I've seen him like 7 different times at least, where somebody asked him like, "Can you talk?" Be like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers." People ask him like, some people question Aaron Rodgers' leadership, and Aaron Jones would be like, "Oh no, he's a great leader. He's a great leader." And Aaron Jones kind of shakes his head like this, "Yes, sir, he's a great leader." And then they'd be like, "Well, can you give us an example of a great leader?" And that's the example he'd use every
Why wouldn't they ask,
single
like,
time.
do you have a more recent example?
Because there isn't one.
Right. No.
There isn't one. But that is a funny quote, Jace. I did not get that the first time. Like when you told me about it just now, or before
I
we
didn't
went
make the
on.
connection at first.
No, I didn't either.
There should have been someone else that was closer
Right,
to him.
right. So and
Yeah.
that's pretty funny to me.
That is.
But
So-
still funny and cool.
So then Aaron Jones went on to talk about how he met Rasul before the combine, and
Yeah.
how because he played in Conference USA, he didn't know a lot of the guys that were actually going into the NFL, and how he met him, and they kind of got along okay. And then even when Rasul was playing in Philly and he'd see him and they play games against him, he was like, "Man, the way you work and the way you play, I know you." He's like, "You're going to be a Packer someday. You're going to be on the Packers." And Rasul said that too. And that is when it ended up happening. So that was a whole thing where they had this friendship, and then it came along, and then it ended up happening where Rasul and the Packers got a gift where all these dumb teams were like didn't want to give him a chance, and then he came to the Packers and then got his way on the field, and he was a Packer, and he was a great Packer for 2 years. So anyway, that's the best part of Aaron Jones, what he said. I love it. Let's see. Oh, okay. Jody's bringing up Rasul's rant after the game. On both. He said when he finally stood up to talk to reporters. Yeah, right. His quote after the game, and you can find that. Ben, tell people where to find Rasul Douglas's post game interview, because you can't find it on the Packers YouTube
It's
channel
only
or
on
website.
JS Online, Journal Sentinel Online, on
Right.
on Yahoo. Or
Well, he's not a Packer anymore, so it wouldn't be on the Packer website.
no, but
Is
the
that why?
Packers didn't. Usually, the Packers put all the press conferences when
Oh,
guys
okay.
have press conferences, and they put them
Yeah.
on the website. And there was a bunch of microphones in front of Rasul, so you can't tell me they
Oh,
didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it was not put on the Packers website.
Hmm.
But it was put on Journal Sentinel Online website.
Mhm. Or YouTube channel for that matter.
You can just type in Rasul Douglas, and you'll find it's one of the things that's on there recently. Though now there's more things, because now his interview with or his press conference with the Bills is on there, and some other stuff. But
Well, here's
Well,
just a real quick bit from it that we can play, because I want to share that, because he did say, I mean, he said a lot of really good stuff, but this was I can't remember why I marked this, but let's hear it and find out.
okay, silence is really good for our show. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not share it yet?
you,
My
you
bad.
didn't share it. We're not
Oh,
hearing
okay.
anything.
I didn't add it to the stage. My bad. Here we go. My bad. This was a good one here. So we'll get it back.
Night look like for Rasul going home after this? What do you do after this?
I don't know. Just stay here for a little while. I gotta find ways. I talk to my coach and just see which way I could lead better. I'm not really like a talker, so and I don't know if the guys want me to be that, but I gotta ask him, man. I gotta make sure he's honest with me and ways I can lead and get better.
Earlier, you said you guys feel like you're
So that's another part of the guy that we just traded away. I got done playing a game where he didn't play bad necessarily. He didn't play his best game, that's for sure. He had some plays out there, but we don't know. He said the communication was off, and there's some other stuff, and there are some things that happened. But that's his mindset. What happens? What is it like tonight for you? Aaron Rodgers go home, have a 4-finger scotch or whatever. This guy is like, I gotta stick around. I gotta think about stuff. I'm gonna talk to my coach. I gotta figure out how I can lead better, how I can be better, how I can, do what the guys need to bring them along and do what this team needs. That was his mindset.
Yeah, it just shows the void that this team has at the leadership, with players. I mean, there is nobody. And it starts with Aaron Rodgers because he was a terrible leader to begin with. And when you have that giant void of him leaving, because, it's obvious who's in charge. It was him. And then when he's gone now, LaFleur doesn't know how to lead because Rodgers was the guy. Bruin Gutekunst has no clue what the hell's going on, obviously. Mark Murphy is a ding-dong. We had one guy who was trying to lead the team. Aaron Jones could do it, but he was hurt, didn't play a lot. So it's hard to kind of do it from the sidelines. So the only guy we had who was out there working his butt off, and let's face it, it was Tuesday, players' day off, and where was Rasul Douglas? He was at the facility studying film and working hard and trying to figure out how to get better and how to make his teammates better. That's probably why Bruin Gutekunst called them on the phone, because he probably figured he wasn't there because he doesn't pay attention to what his players are doing. He doesn't know that Rasul's the guy who's always there working hard and busting his ass and studying film so that he could be out there making plays. But that's okay. I mean, I'm sure people are sick of us talking about Rasul. It's gone. He's gone. He's in a better place. I hope the Bills play great. I hope they get to the Super Bowl and win it. And I hope he freaking balls out, gets a bunch of picks and plays awesome and makes Bruin Gutekunst look like a dumbass, which we already know he is. That'd be great. And then we can fire Bruin's ass and get him the hell out of town because he sucks. Just like Ruin Johnson is never going to make those 3 Star Wars films that they promised him, because guess what? The fans don't want that shit. And the Packer fans don't want Bruin Gutekunst as the freaking general manager either. Well, so they can take his smelly ass and get him out of town.
Well, it might happen anyway.
If you keep him on, Mo, what does that do for players? Like, do players want to sign here? Do players want to work with that guy and look at what happens?
It sends a message, right? I mean, in multiple ways, right? You leave this huge leadership void. You trade someone that obviously is really important to a lot of players in the team. You trade a good player at a position you're already shorthanded on yourself. So you're kind of basically saying you're mailing in the season by doing this, I think in a way. So it they didn't like fire sell all their players, but this is one that I didn't think they were going to trade at all.
Well, it's the only one that anybody wanted. Well, I think they would have definitely gotten rid of other guys if they could have, but nobody else. They don't want anybody else on this team.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. But I think
they're not good.
So you have all that, and that it certainly sends a message on like, well, what players that are already here are going to want to stay. And, now that some of these videos are out too, it does send a message to the rest of the league and other players. So you think about that, but then you think about his job in general. I mean, with how Jordan Love is going right now, which isn't going very well, that's a big decision. That's one that you really can't get wrong as a GM. You get one try in most cases, right? And then you kind of add this to your resume of what you've done as a GM, and it's not, I don't know. At this point, it doesn't look too good, right? Will he get a chance to use that 3rd round pick? Probably, right? But I don't know. This isn't the way the season was supposed to go. And he's probably still more hitched to Jordan Love and how he does more than this Rasul Douglas trade. But this,
he doesn't care about
the optics right now are coming out very poorly, I think.
He only cares about his high picks and trying to prove that he is right. And that is why the Packers are where they are.
And why Rashawn Gary got a big contract extension the day before.
Look at this, Omo. Zero says, I might start rooting for the Vikings. Hope Dobbs works out for you. Look at that.
Speaking of Dobbs, do you guys want to hear about a cool trade?
Okay.
It's this Josh Dobbs trade, right?
Let's hear it.
So the Vikings get Josh Dobbs. They give up a 6th round pick. They get a 7th round pick back. Well, I just read today, and I don't know all the details, but there are conditions that if they're not met, that 7th round pick turns into a 6th round pick. And the Cardinals will probably have a worse, meaning better, pick than the Vikings. They actually might get a better pick if they don't actually end up playing Dobbs. Now, that's a good trade right there.
The Cardinals are a disaster.
They are.
We talked about this on Tuesday, Mo. Somebody said something about, I can't remember who it was. The guy had never commented before, Todd something or other. It said something about that the Cardinals are a bigger mess than we are with their quarterbacks and, all this kind of stuff. And I said to him, I was like, listen, I hate to say it, but at this point, the Packers are turning into the Cardinals. I mean, we are becoming dysfunction land. I compared us to the Bengals right now. I compared us to what the Bengals were maybe 4 years ago and what they had been for years and years and years. A dysfunctional team that kept wallowing in crap, or maybe we're like the Lions. Maybe we're turning to the Lions, and the Lions have taken our spot. Maybe that's more likely because it's same division and all that sort of thing. But it's hard to see any type of future at this point, which sounds weird. And I don't want to be like saying that like, hey, we have no chance. What I'm saying is we haven't seen any progression from our players. And that's what I want to ask you about, Mo. You watched the game.
Mhm.
You heard what we told you about our players and what our team was doing.
Yep.
And I'm pretty, I mean, I've sort of watched it back a little bit, but from what I remember, it looked pretty much exactly what we told you was going to happened. And
Yeah, it's almost like you kind of know what you're talking about a little bit, but it's kind of like what we all said, right? And I think what a lot of people are saying is Jordan Love's struggling with the deep pass, and he struggled with the deep pass again, right? In
he's
that
struggling
game.
with the short pass.
Well, I think he made some plays that were. I mean, Aaron Jones dropped that ball. That was a good
Okay,
throw.
hold on a second.
He dropped
Okay,
that ball.
that's it.
Just-
No. He
dropped the ball.
No, he did not.
Yes,
No, he did. That's it. That's it.
it was
I've
right
had
in his
enough.
eyes. It was right.
I've had enough hearing this. Now I have to find it. I saved it. I
So
don't have it labeled.
So here's what's going on. And I'm sure Ben can show, but with Jordan Love, the short passes are not accurate. So a lot of times the guys are turned and running one way, and he's throwing the ball on the opposite side of their body. So then they got to spin around, which throws them off, which can make it harder. Obviously, and that's what happened on the Aaron Jones one. Now he still should have caught it. Whatever. Technically, there were like five other catchable balls in this game that people did not come down with.
There weren't 5 other catchable balls.
There weren't 5
Well, there were
other
some
catchable
that
balls?
were contested catches, right?
I
that
mean, come on,
if the
Jaden Reed
ball
needs to pull
placement's
that
a
ball
little-
away.
Yeah, but if the ball placement's a little better,
Right,
I can,
right. I get
it might
that.
make it makes that's what makes the difference. But the biggest thing is that there were some deep balls that obviously he was picked off on the one that was probably one of his better throws deep, but it was underthrown. And then he had some where he had guys that were open by NFL standards, some that were open by college standards, and one guy that was wide open like any standards, and he just missed them. I mean, those are plays you have to make, otherwise teams aren't going to respect it, and they're just going to clamp down on everything else. And I think that's what we saw. I mean, and I think the other piece was just they kept shooting themselves in the foot. The penalties were atrocious, and you can't. I thought going into the season that, okay, an elite, I know how you feel about Rodgers, but an elite franchise quarterback can cover a lot of blemishes, right? But I felt like they still had a good defense and they still have 2 good running backs, one that I like a lot better than the other. But still, they still had this running attack and offensive line that seemed to block pretty well. So they might be okay. But then you can't get your running game going if you keep shooting yourself in the foot with penalties and holding and all these other things. And then just one drop can just kill a drive, and there's been some drops. There's been some throws that maybe weren't ideal. They're missing guys downfield, and then it just all falls apart. And that's kind of what happened that game. I did think that watching the game that the Packers run defense was actually really, really good.
So
and
we got TJ Moe.
well,
TJ
and
Sladen blew you up all
he
game
played
long.
great. I think the other piece is that I think everyone knows that Madison is heading.
He's an idiot.
He's got troubles. He leads the team in drop passes, so they figure when he's in, he's probably just going to run because that's all he can really kind of do. But only if the hole is there because he has no vision at all.
Yeah, he's bad.
I felt like he had left some yards out there, so I don't know what they're going to do about that. But still, credit to the Packers defense. They played good run defense, and
One guy, TJ Sladen.
yeah,
9 tackles, and of
That's a lot.
31 rushing plays, 21 of those plays, he was either making the tackle, or forcing the running back in
That's awesome.
a bad spot.
That's amazing.
And that's
Bright
what
spot.
I've
There
talked
you go.
about. That's what I've talked about forever, which is guys in the middle of the defense can make a way bigger impact than these expensive edge rusher guys. And unless they're like super elite and super fast and can chase down plays from the backside, which Rashawn Gary is not, and Lucas Van Ness is not. They're not Max Crosby. So, but we're paying them like they're impact guys, even though they're going to make like 2 plays a game.
Sean
But
Gary
TJ
was
Slayton,
really excited about his sack, though.
he was. TJ
Yeah.
Slayton should be paid a lot in a couple years. Way more than Kenny Clark, right, Ben?
Yeah,
What's your
share
video
this
here?
damn screen already.
I had to let
Sharing it?
Mo finish. We gotta be polite to Mo and let him finish.
No, we
Yep,
don't.
Here it is.
Share this
It's
because
on.
he's
You
talking
really don't.
blasphemy about Aaron Jones. I'm getting pissed about it. Everybody's been
right,
talking
right.
shit, saying he dropped the ball.
He did.
Let's watch this. Okay, where's Aaron Jones looking? And look at the body. Where should this ball be placed? Where would Kirk Cousins throw this ball, Mo? He would throw it back. It'd be a line right here to the because Aaron Jones is putting his body away from the defense, so the ball should be thrown away from the defense, right? Look where Aaron Jones is looking, waiting for the ball.
If he throws it now, yep, it should be there.
It's still there. Where is he looking? He's still looking that same way.
Mm-hmm.
The ball should be thrown right here. You can't see my arrow probably because it's small.
No, I can.
But where does Jordan Love throw the ball? Way the fuck over here.
He's
Now
trying to lead him down the field.
Okay, but look
Maybe.
at where your player is.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like
Now
we were
watch
just
what Aaron
saying,
Jones has to do. Jump freaking 5 yards over there in the air? Is he a wide receiver, Mo?
That's
Is he
a play
6'5"? Is he 6'5", Mo?
That's a play I expect Aaron Jones to make.
Okay,
It's-
normally he could make that play, but look at how he has to teleport 4 yards over and
I
over
get
that
it.
way.
It's not like we were just saying. The accuracy.
Jordan
just
Love
the ball
sucks
placement.
balls.
The
No,
ball
no.
placement needs to be
Jordan
better.
Love sucks balls.
He made that much more difficult on Aaron Jones, but I still expected him to make that play. And that's the thing. There's really young receivers on this team too. You have a rookie tight end. Like these guys, I think they're still promising players, but ball placement makes a big difference for guys like that, especially when you're trying to help their confidence, easy completions, balls that are, away from the defense that they can make plays on and catch and run and be more explosive. That makes a huge difference in the NFL. So yeah, it's
Viking
an
Moe.
issue.
Viking Moe, I know you won the game, and I
Yeah.
know you're here as a triumphant Viking fan tonight. But you sound, as you're speaking about these things, you sound like a person who has experienced all of these things you're talking about, and you're carrying those scars along with you. Is that true?
Well,
Have you?
I think it might be some of that. It might also be because I'm going to be in the same boat this Sunday because Kirk Cousins is now injured, and now we have a 5th round pick rookie quarterback starting. So part of it might just be a little bit of a I feel your pain. I mean, I lived through the Christian Ponders and Tavares Jackson years, and where you see plays in the field and they just miss them, and it's frustrating. And I guess if I sound a little somber, it's because I might be soon enduring the same pain once again. And now, like you guys are, which I realize is kind of fresh and new to you after, it's been so long, but this is what happens when you don't have good quarterback play, and it's frustrating.
I understand. I understand Captain Kirk, tore his own Achilles by himself.
Yeah.
And gave Kenny Clark a free sack. I get it. That happened. But he was really playing well in the game. Like he was throwing the ball on time. He was, accurate with passes, just like you expect him to play normally, and showing you that he is a really good passer when he can have some time, or at least doesn't have guys right in his lap right away. So
yeah,
I'm still hoping out that the Vikings, say, oh, okay, we'll let you go, Kirk. And then maybe the Packers get him next year to come to Green Bay.
Yeah, I think the other thing not to be lost is that this is the first time, at least since he's been in Minnesota, that he's had the same offensive system and the same offensive coordinator in consecutive years. So they kind of alluded to that on that quarterback show on Netflix too. So just how much he has to learn terminology wise and everything else. You could just tell this season he just felt more comfortable. Like he knew like what his first, second, and third options were. And he was just progressing through his reads quickly. And they were also protecting him a lot better, which is super important for, the more statue-like quarterbacks in the league. So he was looking great, and it was fun to watch. So it is a bummer. But I think the the Vikings GM, in case any of you were really concerned, he did say all options are open, is what he said, quote unquote. All options are open when it comes to renegotiating with Kirk Cousins in the spring. So we will see. We will see.
All
I
right,
think
we
they'll
got
get a
some,
really good look at the rookie and then go forward, but we'll see.
Yeah. Brian Gutekunst, our brain, not brain,
Brain,
Braun.
the opposite
What
of
did you,
brain. Brain
what did you
dead.
call
Bruin,
Bru-
dude, cunts.
Bruin.
he did say when asked about evaluating Jordan Love and whatever else, he said this 10-game stretch would be very important for that, even though Goody does not like to ever part ways with any of his picks or admit he's wrong, which we'll show you some more evidence of that here in a second. We'll get some comments to get to. So David was wondering about the drop balls in the game. Zero points out that the Packers are a field goal away from being 1-6. And Saints collapse actually away from being 1-6. The only thing they would have beat was the Bears. Lee points out that Christian Watson would have more drop balls if he could track the ball in the air and get close to it. And Zero says Goody, if he had any balls, he would have traded a lot more players than just Rasul. But as we pointed out, Zero, you can only trade players that other teams want. And apparently we only have one player that anybody else wants. And that's Rasul Douglas, or we had him. Now we don't. So, and other people think that Jones should have caught that, Ben. Still a bad throw, though.
I have a question.
And it was a bad throw. Yep.
Sean Clifford is also one of your GM's draft picks, right?
Birthday buddy. He's my birthday buddy, Viking Moe.
Isn't there a chance that's only can be good.
It's a good reason to start him, I think.
Well, that's this 10-game stretch. Is that going to include any Sean Clifford if you consider
no
keep seeing or
unless Matt LaFleur gets a pair,
no.
Only if Matt LaFleur gets a pair, or he realizes that he's going to get canned soon.
If you watch Matt LaFleur's press conference, Ben, Ben's already talking about it. He wants Sean Clifford, and Sean Clifford is my birthday buddy. Yep. So yeah, I'd like to see
Sean Clifford.
Before we go to the video real quick, I want to just say that if you watch Matt LaFleur's first press conference after Rasul was traded, very different tone, very different reaction to the trade than smug ass boy Bruin, what's his nuts. So I'm just saying, like, Matt LaFleur clearly did not want that trade to happen. He clearly valued Rasul Douglas, and but
decreases his chance to get wins.
Yeah,
and Goody's just like, hey, we're getting rid of guys. I don't care. You're gonna play the guys I want, because Gutekunst was all excited about the opportunities for these other guys, and and Jair's there, and yeah, he's playing great. If you watch the tape, but PFF has him as 65th rated corner right now on the season.
Yeah,
but the guy who thinks he's the best player in the NFL. Not just the best corner. He thinks he's the best player in the NFL.
What was a fluke, he said.
It's currently 65th out of 116 ranked corners.
Must be a fluke.
Every week there's like 7 flukes, Mo.
He said
all
it.
right. Yeah, he always says it. All right, video. First of all, let me just, I'm quoting Jay here. First of all. Ain't nobody tough to guard in the NFL for me, because if they get open, then I did something wrong. It isn't anything they did right. That's what he said. Basically.
Okay,
yeah. That's true. That doesn't make him good. That makes him bad. Okay, share this video.
It's up.
All right, look at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see Luke Musgrave right here at the bottom of the screen. This is going to be wide receiver screen. That was a penalty because Christian Watson blocked early. But what we're going to look at is Jordan Love's throw. It's another throw to the flat because apparently he doesn't know how to fucking throw the ball to the flat. But this is a dropped pass. We're going to look at the same. Hold on, ooh, shoot. Sorry about that. I'm going to slow it down because I know I get herky-jerky.
It's actually looking pretty smooth tonight. But he can't throw short and he can't throw deep. He can throw intermediate only.
He can't do that
intermediate. Either. He's pretty good at those.
So as you're looking here, Jordan Love is looking. He's seeing the defender here. He's seeing a one guy blocking here. And he's seeing his tight end looking back to him. The ball should be thrown away from the defense. Same exact throw that should have been thrown to Jordan Love, to Aaron Jones. Except in this case, there is nobody between Jordan Love and the tight end. But let's watch where this ball gets thrown to.
Yeesh.
But that's a drop
No.
because it hit his finger. See,
No,
but
that one's definitely
but-
not a drop.
no. But what the hell was that?
That was a bad
It's
throw.
a garbage throw. Let's look at his feet.
Okay.
Because I have heard he's been bad with his feet lately.
That wasn't bad feet.
That wasn't bad feet. That's just bad throw.
That was just a
Damn.
bad
That's
freaking
it.
throw.
Birthday buddy, get him in there. Get him
That's
my
just a
birthday
terrible
buddy in
throw.
the game.
And really,
The guy
buddy,
can't even throw a
Watson to block.
5-yard pass into the flat.
Birthday buddy would have made that throw.
Josh Dobbs could make that throw. Whoever that
Maybe.
random guy is that the Vikings have as their backup quarterback is going to start now could freaking make that throw.
Jaron Hall is his name. Yeah.
Whatever. Sean Clifford can make that throw.
That's right.
That's why I want to see Sean Clifford in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make a simple 5-yard pass to the flat to a guy who's wide ass open and throw it to the right side where you're supposed to catch it and then catch it in stride and move. He's got to do a pirouette to catch it. You have to take ballet lessons just to play with Jordan Love? Come on.
Yeah, it's bad.
He sucks.
That really it stalls drives. Those are.
Did you guys happen to watch some of the game last night?
I watched a little.
Yeah, I watched a little.
look
Does
very pretty.
Will Levis look a lot better than Jordan Love to you?
Yeah.
And he hasn't had 3 years to, 2.5 years to learn the
I know.
offense and all this stuff, or 3
I'm
years.
getting sick.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm getting sick of the excuses too. People are being like, "Well, he's a first-year quarterback." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's a
Well,
fourth-year quarterback.
This was like Will Levis's second game? Is his rookie
Second game.
season?
His first start, second
Like,
game."
He looked pretty damn good at times, and yeah, he made a bad decision at the end of the game, but he was
Well, he
ripping
had
the
to- he had
ball,
to-
and he was.
He had no choice. They were down by 4 points, and there's 20 seconds left or whatever, and they had no timeout, so he had to freaking truck it to the end zone.
Yeah.
You know?
But he looked like a guy that could be something, right? Does Jordan Love look like a guy that could be something? Probably not. Is Goody
You know what?
understanding that and facing it?
I don't know. Packer fan 1993 is he's
What does it say?
saying Jordan Love is a backup third stringer for sure. Sean Clifford reminds me of Eli Manning. Sean
Well,
Clifford is
if-
pretty decent, and he can be clutch too, and that's the difference. Jordan Love has got no clutch gene. He's
That's
not
true.
like Don Makowski.
Say it.
Sean Clifford is more like Don Makowski. You know who Sean Clifford kind of reminds me of? I mean, he's not this
Ryan
good.
Fitzpatrick. He basically reminds me of Ryan
No,
Fitzpatrick.
he reminds me of Matt
okay.
Hasselbeck, but not quite as good. Not quite as good, but still pretty. He's got a little Hasselbeck in him, which is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. I'll take Matt Hasselbeck at starting quarterback. Jordan Love, you know who he reminds me of? Brett Hundley. That is really bad. Yeah, you know Brett Hundley, the guy that we had for a while there behind Aaron Rodgers.
You're
'Cause-
trying to
because-
say Jordan Love's as bad as Brett Hundley? All right.
Okay,
now,
he reminds me
look,
of Deshaun Kaiser. How's that?
look at the
Oh,
arm underneath your face right now. This is Micah Hyde's arm when I met him. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just going back. This is visual evidence here. I'm gonna try to find myself here. Let me see if I can. Switch
Nobody
this up.
cares.
I don't have a good picture. Let's see. Maybe I gotta make you guys go away for a
You
second here.
do.
I'm gonna make all of us go away for a second. So Micah's in the front right, and I'm on the ground here, and I want you to tell me who you think has bigger muscles at this moment. All right, you got a chance to look at that.
Gilbert
This
Brown.
is that was visual evidence of my claim earlier that at that point I felt like I was almost as muscular as Micah Hyde, but he has certainly stepped up his game. He's done a lot of working out. He looks great. And he's an awesome dude and way the hell better at football than I ever was. And I really wish he was a Green Bay Packer all these years, his whole life. He was freaking awesome. Please don't say that Love is another Seneca Wallace, Packer fan 1993. That would be
he's
terrible.
he's not as good as
No.
Seneca Wallace.
Not as good as Seneca Wallace. Uh-oh. David wants Sean Clifford. He's been calling for Clifford forever. He says, Ben, I'm glad you're coming around on Clifford.
I
He's
did.
the
I'm
spark,
not coming
the
around,
spark.
David. I've been legit on Clifford since they drafted him. Everybody said that he shouldn't be a drafted player, and I said, wait a minute, this guy. And then people were like, the Packers have no, solid backup for Jordan Love, and I'm like, Sean Clifford started 5 years at Penn State. He's got more
Yeah.
experience. He's got twice the experience Jordan Love has playing football
Yeah.
at a high level. I trust Sean Clifford way more than I would trust Jordan Love at this point. And if I was Matt LaFleur, and this team is tanking down the joint, and you can watch anybody who wants to watch a good video, this week's Leroy Butler X's and O's, very good this week. If you can find it, it's on YouTube. Very good. He breaks down one offensive play where there's like 3 guys wide open and Jordan Love throws to the one guy who's double teamed. It's ridiculous. Then he also breaks down a couple of different defensive plays. And one of them Rasul screwed up on, which I talked about earlier. Or last, I didn't talk about it on the show because, Rasul got traded and I got mad. But it's a play where the Packers, he said, Leroy does a great job. And he's like, there should be answers for this. He's like, they're in a man's defense right now, and they're going up against a Vikings bunch. And the Vikings did the same thing to him last year in the first game of the year, and they still haven't learned it. So the Vikings keep doing it to him. And Joe Barry has no answers for him. He's like, when I played, this was the answer. This guy goes here, this guy goes here, this guy goes here. You say a key word, whatever it is. He's like, our word was pasta because for some reason everybody liked pasta. So we had whatever that. If we said pasta, we switched from the man to the zone, and everybody understood what their job was in that bunch formation. Who covered who and who went where. Whichever receiver went to a certain spot first, that was the guy you took based on the triangle that you line up in. He showed the triangle. It's a really good video if anybody wants to watch it. Really good. So it's Leroy Butler, X's and O's. It's the latest one. It's him and Tom Silverstein. They do a good job. I know Mo's not going to care, but it's one of those things where, like we talked about it on Tuesday, I would love to see. Leroy Butler, I think, would be a really good coach. I don't think he would want to be a coach, but like it would be good to have him come in and work with these guys, in the offseason, or even be a consultant now. Or like I said, Mike Holmgren would be even better. And for sure, Sterling Sharp, if he could come in and teach these receivers how to catch the goddamn ball, that'd be great too. But let's face it, if Jordan Love can't throw a 5-yard pass in the flat, I don't know how he can throw balls downfield.
Yeah.
This isn't like Brett Favre. Like Wildy's like, he reminds me of Brett Favre that first season. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Because Brett Favre had a rocket arm and he chucked it right exactly where he wanted to. He just decided to throw it into like triple coverage. That's the difference. He was an idiot, but he had a good arm and he threw it exactly where he wanted to. Jordan Love is like inaccurate, makes dumb decisions, doesn't see the field, freaks out in the pocket, and is losing it for us a lot. And you can't teach calm. Like when a guy gets in the game, like you either are ready to go and you understand what's going on, and you have like a switch, like you go right back to where you were. Matter of fact, someone said, I heard earlier this week, they said Tom Clemens said Jordan Love is working on his footwork. And then when he gets into the game, he reverts back to his old ways and he screws up. So in practice, he's doing good. When he gets in the game and the bullets start flying, then he loses his footwork and he loses his accuracy. And there's nothing you can do anymore.
Right. That was my question, because I was like, well, I don't know. It's maybe not the best time to kind of try to sell this way, but there were some good moments that he did. And I felt like he moved well in the pocket and outside of the pocket. He seems to be, have control of the huddle and things like that. He's got decent arm strength. He did make he avoided a sack and made a nice throw to convert a first. So there's some glimpses there, right, that you can kind of get enamored with. But how do you practice? How do you practice accuracy? And it sounds like they're trying to do that, but then it's falling apart. How do you transfer that to the field? For him, how do you help him do that?
I don't know. There is no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because when he's got the red jersey on in practice, nobody's touching him. He knows he's not going to get hit.
Yeah.
But then he gets in the games when the bullets are flying and he freaks out. And that's what happened to him in Kansas City. And it's what's been happening to him. And he did so much better this preseason. I don't know what happened. And somebody brought that, I think it was Mark Tauscher today brought that up on Wildy and Tausch. He was like, what I don't understand is why are they, if they're doing all these things where it's really complicated plays, where they're moving around doing stuff, but in the preseason, they kind of just did vanilla plays, but they were successful doing the vanilla plays. And yes, they were going up against vanilla defense, but just to maybe get rolling, to get the ball rolling, like maybe do some vanilla plays that your guys know what to do, like basic stuff that they were doing in the preseason, just to start a game that way to see what could happen maybe. And it seems like when they go to the 2-minute offense, those are just basically vanilla plays. And they seem to run the ball better or move the ball better when they're in 2-minute offense.
Now,
it also
could be flat are kind of pretty vanilla. That's pretty easy.
I know. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's so scared. The other thing I don't like is these passes that are to the flat, or the passes like these wide receiver screens or whatever. They have one option on the play. So if that doesn't work, the play's dead. I really hate those screens.
Yeah.
And the other thing, somebody brought this up as well. They were like, I hate the RPO game, like the quick pass that Aaron Rodgers did for the last 3 years, but we don't run it anymore.
Mhm.
Like I didn't hate it like all the time. I just hate it because Aaron Rodgers would throw 27 passes in a game that were behind the line of scrimmage to wide receivers, when they were run pass options. But we don't run any of those plays anymore this year. Now, maybe Jordan Love does not have the quick release that Aaron Rodgers has. That's for sure. So that could be a reason. But those are just things that, like, when you see them, like, I just don't get this offense. It's not creative. They're not doing the things they need to do to get guys open. And when they are open, they're running the wrong route. Jordan Love isn't accurate. There's holding calls. There's false starts. There's all kinds of dumb stuff. There's been way too many 3rd and longs. And yeah, the opponent, when they get 3rd and long, they always convert it because our defense sucks. But we can't convert 3rd and longs.
It's because they call plays on 3rd down to not give up a touchdown, and they don't worry about stopping them from getting a first down or getting close to the first down. But the thing with Jordan Love was, remember, early in the year, early in camp, he was overthrowing everybody on deep passes. So then they told him, you got to put some more air on the ball. So now he's just underthrowing all his deep passes. So I don't know if he can figure that out, because before he was putting more on the line and not getting enough air under it, and he was overshooting guys. Now he's putting more air on it, but releasing it at the same time. And so it underthrows him. And maybe he'll figure it out. Maybe he won't. I don't know why he's so inaccurate at short stuff. But Ben, like, you watch and Mo, you saw too, what the bunch formations and other things like that did to the Packers defense and how it got guys open. The Packers didn't run that one time. They didn't have 3 guys close like that and going in different directions one time in the whole game. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand what they're trying to do. They're not. The players are, yes, making mistakes, but the coaches are not helping them to make it easier for them either. So it's a total disaster across the board, and I don't understand why there are no answers and no adjustments. It's weird.
Yeah, the problem is it's a lot of things, right? We talked about the penalties. We talked now about the small inaccuracies and passes that, are either going to be incomplete or don't lead to more yards than what, even if they complete it, you're not leading the receiver and getting those yards while they're still there. All those things kind of add up, right? And so it's tough to kind of get in favorable down and distances where you can maybe be more creative too, just, in a play calling defense, and then you don't want to maybe try to get too creative when you're not able to do the basic things, right? So I get, like, people want that, but if you can't do the basic stuff, coaches probably don't feel too comfortable trying to throw in wrinkles if we can't do the basic stuff a little bit more efficiently, or a lot more efficiently, right?
So at least in our chat, a lot of people calling for Sean Clifford here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess people have seen enough of Jordan Love, Ben, and I don't know if that's going to mean that we'll actually see it. It could be really interesting, though, because Keyshawn Nixon is also a guy that Matt LaFleur has spoken highly of, and also a guy that Brian Gutekunst did not draft. Or sorry, what's his name? He didn't draft him. So
Ruined Gutekunst.
He doesn't value him, just like he doesn't value a bunch of the other guys, and he doesn't, like, stick up for him or, whatever. But all of this, and other than starting my birthday buddy Sean Clifford, who has a great birthday, I don't know what else could fix this, because we still have the same things, and we have a delusional general manager. And we got to play some stuff from this guy here. It's one of two things. There's only one of two answers here. Brian Gutekunst is
who?
It's all. I'm sorry. Damn. Okay.
Ruined Gutekunst.
Yes, he's either so much about his ego that he just cannot and will at all costs lie through his teeth to not admit fault or wrong.
That's it, right?
Or he is a terrible evaluator of talent,
or both,
or the worst scenario, which is both.
I think it's both.
And it could be both, and that would be absolutely terrible. But here's some proof. I mean, you just go ahead and you can take this for what it was. If you didn't sit through his whole 20 some minutes, you may not have seen this. I did it for you because I care about all you guys and I care about the Packers. But this asshole clearly does not. So let's hear another thing that he said. Because again, I talked about the Green Bay media kind of stepping up their game a little bit. Well, they asked him some stuff. Here's one of the things that was asked him. Let's take a listen.
It just made sense for our football team.
How raw did you think Watson was
How
coming
raw?
out relative to, fairly high picks like that?
Not any more than most.
So what do you think, has that panned out, or do you think, was he a little more raw than you thought coming out?
No, I just think right now our offense isn't playing well as a whole, which I think limits opportunities for all the guys.
So, Ben, we've watched, and Mo, you didn't get to see Christian Watson all the other games. But, I mean, I think it's kind to describe Christian Watson as raw at this point.
Well, you can't
Don't
really
ya?
be raw anymore, right? He's kind of already been here a little while, a minute, and he's been some injuries. But
That's
is
the thing, he's
raw
been hurt
the
a lot.
word anymore?
He
If it's not
can't-
raw, then it's bad.
He can't
Right.
catch.
You can't
He
catch.
can't
It's a
locate
problem.
the ball.
You can't locate the ball in the air.
Big problem.
He can't adjust to the ball in the air. He doesn't have
He's-
the agility or the body control of like Jordy
Right.
Nelson or
He's
guys like that.
6'4". He's 6'4", but it doesn't help him. It doesn't help him like win 50-50 balls or jump balls. It's just weird.
Sounds like Troy Williamson to me, is what it sounds like.
Okay, don't ever say that.
I
Don't ever say that.
It was the same problems. He couldn't catch and he couldn't track the ball. I mean, those are big problems for a receiver. Just saying.
Yeah, no kidding.
Super athletic, but
It's not any different than what Goody expected. I mean, this is apparently when he traded 2 second-round picks to move up to get him, apparently this is what he expected. That's what he just said, right?
I guess
guess.
so. Yeah. Even
But
even his hair looks smug. It's like, what is that? It's like a little like strawberry blonde tidal wave is
That's
what it
the
looks
guy
like.
who's trying. He's trying hard. He's trying hard to still, to keep his looks or whatever. Okay. Then probably, other than mispronouncing one of his best players' names who he didn't value and just traded away for nothing, this is probably the worst, most egregious, blasphemous thing he said in this whole 24 minutes of bullshit. So here we go.
They will.
What do you? What's your assessment of the offensive line through 7 games?
Yeah, no, I think they've done a nice job pass blocking. We haven't got our run game going. Is
I'm sorry, Ben. Have they? You watch all the games? Have they done a nice job pass blocking?
Zach Thomas done a nice job pass blocking. Does that count?
No. This is the offensive. He's talking about the whole offensive line. Well, here we go.
good as we've wanted to. There's been some injuries there as well, but
Oh, good. Throw in a little quick excuse. Okay, here we go.
I think some young players. Rashid came in, did a nice job for us.
I'm sorry. What? What?
Rashid
Is
got
there
schooled this Vikings game.
He got schooled every game.
No, he
He
did pretty
wasn't-
good at. He was pretty
he
good at
wasn't-
first. He got worse and worse
No.
with every game.
He was not good. He was suitable when he only had to block for 1 to 2 seconds, Ben. That's it.
He made DJ
Otherwise-
Wanham look like a superstar.
He did.
He's just not.
Okay, well, let's continue on because it gets even worse than that.
So I think they played. I think Josh Myers playing the best football since he's been here. So he's playing very, very well.
Very, very well. That's the part
Uh-oh.
that's the part that shocked me. It's one thing to say he's been playing his best football since he's been here. That I agree with because he sucks ass. So what's the best of sucking ass? It's still sucking ass. But then he said he's playing very, very well.
I can tell you right now, you could put the question to Josh Myers' parents, and they would not say that same thing. And that's their kid. What the so all I'm saying to you, I think it is both. He's a terrible evaluator of talent, and he is an egocentric maniac who cannot admit when he's wrong. And he is destroying our team. Those two things are destroying our team. He gives money to Ben went through the list the other day. Ben, who are all the guys on the list that make all the money?
Oh God, Brian Gutekunst or
What?
Bruin Gutenkunst has. First, let's go over this. His first move was to give money to a guy named Zadarius Smith. Gave a lot of money to him. Matter of fact, we gave him so much money that we were paying him $12 million to play for the Vikings last year. That's how much money we gave him. He gave a lot of money to Preston Smith, who
It's pretty good.
Okay, is he worth a big $17 million?
He's your best corner.
Yeah, he's one of our better. Yeah.
He gave money to Adrian Amos, who, that's fine.
Wait.
And then, of course, his big signing was Billy Turner. And we all know what that was. If he thought Billy Turner was good, then I guess saying Josh Myers is playing very, very well, I could see how he would think that, considering that he thought Billy Turner was good. So just start with those first 4 free agent signings, okay? None of them, absolutely none of them were impact signings. You might say, oh, they helped to get the team good. Okay, was Adrian Amos a interception guy? Was he a pass breakup guy? Was he a get in the backfield and make tackles behind the line of scrimmage guy?
Not really.
No, he was just a solid, okay guy who knew what he was supposed to do.
Yep.
He's okay. He wasn't bad. Billy Turner obviously was terrible. We know that. Preston Smith is whatever.
He's average.
He's pretty
And
good.
Zadarius had a one-track mind. Quarterback. So never looked at the running back once. Never.
Or that Robert Woods block coming.
Right, and he could get blocked by wide receivers. A 180-pound receiver could block him like he was nothing. We all know that. So just start with that. Then you look at, let's take a look at his draft picks. Rashawn Gary, he drafts. The guy didn't get on the field until his 3rd season. Then he gets hurt. Barely plays. Plays a little bit. And now they give him a big fat contract, even though he's only played probably about a year and a half worth of actual playing time. You got Savage, who was good for half a season in 2021, I think, or 2020, one of those 2 years. And then after that, crap. Right? Jair, self-proclaimed greatest cornerback of all time.
Greatest player and that best player in the NBA.
Best player of all time.
NFL, I'm sorry, NFL.
Doesn't want to tackle anybody. Now, before Jair's injury, he was a better player. After his injury, I think it really affected him, and he does not want to tackle anymore because he doesn't want to get hurt. And I totally get it. Totally get that. But then you're not the best cornerback in the league. If you don't tackle anybody, you're not very good. I mean, that's part of the job. It's not just covering guys. The only guy who could get away with that was Deion Sanders. He could get away with just covering guys. You are no Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders would pick off the ball left and right and return it for touchdowns. Jair makes no interceptions. Like, none. He gets like 2 or 3 if he's lucky. Not even that.
But
then
he did sign Rasul as well.
Okay, first of all, it's Rasul. Don't ever do that again.
I know.
But Bruin Gutenkunst, we are convinced that the Zach Tom draft, right? The Rasul signing, the Keyshawn Nixon signing, I don't think these are Bruin Gutenkunst guys. I think these are scouts lower down in the pecking order that found these guys and said, hey, we got to give a flyer to this. Just give a flyer to this guy. And they did. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the other thing you got to look at is this. You trade up for Jordan Love. Not a good move. A.J. Dillon, draft a running back in the 2nd round when you already have Aaron Jones on the team. And they also had Jamal Williams at the time. Stupid. 3rd round, you draft Josiah DeGuara, who's a nice guy, but he sure as hell an impact player. That's a 3rd round pick that doesn't do. At least he's on the team. He's better than Jay Sternberger or Amari Rodgers, who are 3rd round picks who couldn't even make it past 2 years on the team.
Sean
also
Ryan,
got Owen Burks, who's a 3rd round pick who didn't play at all. Now he's the 49ers, actually plays okay. Sean Ryan, last year's pick, can't even see the field at all.
But we got another one of those 3rd rounders, so that's gonna be a great one.
And now we got Tucker Kraft, who doesn't play, even though we have no tight ends on our team. Like, how come he doesn't play? The guy that we signed off the Vikings practice squad is the guy that plays more than our 3rd round pick does right now. So what are we doing? We drafted Josh Myers 1 pick ahead of Creed Humphrey. What the hell? We had 3 chances to draft George Pickens.
Yep.
Who looks awesome with the freaking Steelers.
He's good.
And we took Quay Walker, who's okay. Devontae Wyatt, who I thought we needed a good, but he's not the impact player that we wanted him to be. And Christian Watson, who we've already established seems to be a bust. George Pickens went after all three of those guys. We had 3 shots at George Pickens, couldn't get him. You think George Pickens' hands could help us right now? I think so. He also drafted Jamon Moore, who couldn't even last 1 year with the team. Equinemius St. Brown, and MVS. MVS is the best out of the 3. He at least blocked and could run fast. Doesn't mean he was that great. He drafted a bunch of running backs. I can't even remember their names because they all sucked and they were gone after a year, and like late round running backs. The guy this year, Lou Nichols, where'd he go? Gone. Haven't heard of him. Gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the offensive lineman, John Runyon, who we thought was okay this year's playing like dog crap for some unknown reason. He did draft Elton Jenkins, but everybody says he's so great. He's better than average, but that's about it. But he's got a high paid, top paid guard in the NFL right now.
He's pretty good.
So what are we looking at? We're looking at Brun Gutenkunst, who can apparently evaluate talent very well. Also is so stuck on his own picks that he only assigned his first round picks to contracts. I mean, it was surprising that also, the Devondre Campbell, was that a great signing? The 5-year contract after he was all pro?
Pretty good.
No, he's not that good.
He's pretty good.
Watch the tape, Mo. Watch the tape. He cannot cover. When he's in a zone, he sits there and the ball gets thrown right by his ear. And then he goes and tackles the guy 9 yards downfield after he gets the first down. He is the worst.
It's a good tackler.
No, he's not a good tackler. Matter of fact, he missed a huge tackle against the Vikings on Sunday.
He's not a physical tackler, which gives up a lot.
He's a reacher.
Yards after contact.
He's a stand-up reacher. That's what he is.
He's pretty fast, which helps him,
and he's long.
But
he's got long arms and he's tall.
He had 14 tackles in the game against the Vikings, but I can only remember one because all the other ones are probably 8 yards downfield.
Yeah, I remember his missed tackle more than his ones he made.
It's not helping you. It's not helping you. And Ben, so when TJ Watt was passed on, and they drafted Kevin King, that was 2017. So that was the year before this guy became the GM.
Yeah,
but he
was
director.
This guy now, right? Because
he was director. He was director of player personnel and very high up in the organization at that point. So
Ted
I don't
Thompson
know.
Was kind of not all there. So maybe he made that draft pick too.
So that could have been his choice as well. But this Wisconsin guy, nah. Go back and get this garbage cornerback. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
But the most egregious is the Josh Myers instead of Creed Humphreys one.
Yes, well,
because that's the apples. That's apples to apples. I mean, Kevin King and TJ.
This year's just as egregious. You had the 13th pick, Ben. You had a chance, or you could have moved back and got a quality player because you needed a good tight end. You could have moved back. You could have done some different things. He loves moving back. He loves moving back. Now, maybe they didn't have any traders. We don't know that. But we've talked about how different Sam Laporta looks than the 2 tight ends we have on our team that we drafted in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. We've talked about all that. The team needed a tight end. You didn't have any on the team. So you're going to draft a starter. So it was a position that and there were a bunch of good tight ends. Well, get a guy who's actually a good, complete tight end. We don't have one. And then what do we end up with? We draft another freaking edge rusher who's not very good. Like, he looks great in shorts and a t-shirt, but he's not a good football player.
Could have drafted Jordan Addison.
We could have drafted a bunch of guys. We had plenty of needs, Mo. We could have got a receiver. We could certainly use one. We could have got another center. We could have got an interior lineman. We could have done a whole bunch of things. But we drafted a goddamn edge rusher it's either edge rusher or a corner with this guy. And none of them are that good. They're fine. They're pretty good. And we both like Rashawn Gary. He's got a great attitude. He's got a good work ethic. He's a good guy. Okay. But he lacks speed. And he's just not that impactful in a game. If you're way on the outside every play and you don't have closing speed, you are limited in the number of plays you can actually impact or affect in the game. And that's what Rashawn Gary is. He has a good bull rush. He can beat a guy most of the time. Okay, great. But a lot of times the ball is going to be out before he even gets there. And if it's a running play in the middle or away from him, he's completely not part of that play.
Yep.
That's what you have. He's not a chase down guy like Max Crosby or TJ Watt or some of the elite guys.
The other problem is PFF grades him as one of the highest pass rush win rates out there. So he beats the guy in front of him, which they think is a positive thing.
It is.
And it is somewhat positive, yes. However, if that's all you're trying to do on every single play, yes, you will do that quite often. But
Did you learn that
is
from Za'Darius?
yes, he learned it from Za'Darius, but Za'Darius didn't even win as much as he does. And
Right.
Gary doesn't even have that many moves. He just kind of just runs fast and runs over you. So
Raider
Rick, how does Raider Rick feel? Rick, how are you feeling?
Raider Rick, you lost your coach this week. So much. Ben was talking
And your
about
GM
before,
and your
how
offensive coordinator.
you're
Jeez.
paying your last two coaches. You're still paying for who knows how long.
You'll be
yet.
paying them for the next 4 years. You'll be paying 3 coaches. You'll be paying the Raiders will be paying 3 head coaches for the next 4 years, maybe more. I mean, maybe they'll hire a guy and fire him after 2 years, and then there'll be a freaking 4th guy they'll be paying for the last 2 years.
Rick thinks it's still addition by subtraction. I don't think he was all that. I mean, I think he kind of liked Chucky a little bit, but I don't think he really liked McDaniels
Well,
much.
they're not
so.
still paying Chucky, are they? That was probably something where
No,
could-
they
It
are.
was a 10-year contract.
I know
10-year
it was,
contract.
but because of why he was fired, it wasn't because
That
of
don't matter.
performance. You don't think it does? You don't
He
think
had
so?
that thing. That was like an ironclad.
Was
John
it?
Gruden
Okay.
is no dum-dum, like as far
Yeah.
as all that stuff goes.
I was just
He's-
wondering because of the nature of his firing, since it was different. Maybe they could have recouped that. I don't know.
He was, it's better than McCarthy's gig, where McCarthy got paid $9 million his last year to sit on his butt in Green Bay and do nothing. It was better than that because John Gruden got it for a bunch more years. Still paying Gruden, Rick confirms. Yes. Still paying.
Wow, that's crazy.
Gruden had a 10-year contract, got
Yeah.
fired in the middle of his 3rd year or 4th year. 4th year. So he still had 6 years to get paid yet. Josh McDaniels got a 6-year contract. He got fired halfway through his 2nd year. Therefore, both Gruden and McDaniels are going to be paid for the next 4 years before their contracts are up. Plus, the Raiders will have another coach, and then maybe another coach after that. Before the Gruden contract and the McDaniels contracts are even paid up.
Wow.
So that's the other thing. Like, we talked about the Packers, firing Goody, Brian or Bruton, Guten Kunst, and firing Matt LaFleur. But Mark Murphy, the president of the company, is only going to be around for 1 more year, and then after the 2025 NFL draft, he's going to retire.
Oh, yeah.
And not only that, but Guten Kunst and LaFleur are both under contract for the next 2 or 3 years, I think, after they sign their contract extensions. So I don't think Mark Murphy wants to have to make that decision of a new coach with only a year left to be the general manager or to be the president of the team.
Are you trying to
before they
say
hire a new
Mark?
president?
You trying to say Mark Murphy is kind of similar to John Hoffland, the old news director at Channel 13 where we worked, where he was very lazy and just didn't want to. Remember when?
Yeah.
He didn't want to look at all these like 50 resume tapes submitted from all these aspiring journalists. And I walked by his office and he was like, Jason, you could do the weather. And I was like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't take meteorology stuff. Like, I don't have a meteorology degree or any of that. He's like, but you look okay on camera and you're, like you just follow that stuff and blah, blah, blah. I mean, because he was too damn lazy to look at his 60 resume tapes that people sent in that wanted a shot to be a weather person. He offered me the job on the spot when I had
take it.
because I didn't want to do that job because then I got to work a bunch of weekends and crazy weather stuff. I didn't know what was going on. And
it was the lowest man on a totem pole weather guy.
Yeah, you get screwed with like the crappiest shifts. You have to come in super early, and then also you have to do part-time news and part-time weather, and then you get and you got to deal with John Jetta, which I didn't want to do that either. So
yeah, he was kind of a ding dong.
But that was like, so you're trying to tell me that's Mark Murphy here. I don't want to deal with all the figuring of new coach.
Well, it's not that. It's
stuff.
just
okay.
We talked about this the other day, and then the other thing is people are saying, well, then there'll be, if the floor stays, there'll be some changes. He's going to have to, there'll be requests.
Oh yeah.
make some changes. So I'm like, okay, who's going to want to come and be an assistant under Matt LaFleur when he's on the hot seat next year? We're not going to get any good coaches, assistant coaches to come over here. Nobody's going to want to come. So, I mean, we're screwed. We're screwed. LaFleur will be the coach for the next 2 years, at least. Bruin Gutekunst will be the general manager for the next 2 years, at least. He'll ruin all these draft picks he's getting from these trades of players that Aaron Jones really cares about, and apparently guys he didn't care about when they got traded. All those things will be there, and Gutekunst, Bruin will ruin everything by drafting like dog shit. And then they'll finally get canned, and our team will be the bottom of barrel muck of the earth with no quarterback, no team. Aaron Jones will be gone. There'll be no true person for the fans to love except for Zach Tom. We'll have one player that's actually any good. Zach Tom.
You know how much everybody gets behind the O lineman, right?
Yeah. Well, they love Bakhtiari. If Zach Tom starts drinking beers at Bucks games, then maybe people will go crazy for him. But I think we've talked enough about the Packers. Mo.
Hi.
Oh,
how do you feel about the, Kirk O'Chain's going down and the whole, right when it felt like the Vikes are on the upswing, you have this turmoil that happens. Do you think your team can stick together and still come out and do something here?
Well, I mean, I kind of alluded to it already. It was kind of a gut punch, right? I've never really felt so melancholy after beating the Packers in Lambeau Field. That's usually would be the high point of my season most of the time, right? And I'd feel pretty good about that. But it was obviously tainted with what happened to Kirk Cousins, who was playing really well. And then you just realize that behind him, you have Nick Mullins, who's on IR right now. He might be back in a couple of weeks, but so you don't really even have your primary backup who might win a few games for you, right? But you also know that Cousins isn't coming back this season. He's just done with the Achilles. So now you have a rookie. And you're like, well, we did all this to kind of get back into it. I was getting excited. Obviously, we want to play meaningful football games. And that's why I love football. And nothing's harder than watching your team play games that just don't mean anything. And it's almost better if they do lose, because then they get a better draft pick. I hate that feeling. It's the worst. Not that I'm pro tanking or anything at all. It's a crappy feeling when you're trying to watch your favorite team. So all now I can do is hope that they catch lightning in a bottle or whatever, and that Jaron Hall ends up being some kind of diamond in the rough for them and can be, good enough to win some games. But now you also don't have Justin Jefferson for this game. The soonest he could come back would be against the Saints in 2 weeks if he's ready with the hamstring. So it's kind of you're kind of going in there with okay, the defense has helped you win some games, but really, and they're improved, but they're more of a middle of the road defense, right? Which is a huge improvement from last year, but you still need the offense to be able to do something and be able to function. So, I'm always optimistic that they maybe found something here, but he's not going to be able to do what Kirk Cousins had been doing, was playing really, when you think about it. Without some of those turnovers, they're probably talking about he's in the MVP conversation, and people can laugh at that if they want to, but he was just playing that well. He led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in completion percentage. He was carving people up, and good defenses too. So so you're not going to get that, but what can you get? Can you get something that functions? The running game has not been very consistent. They probably really, in my opinion, need to bench Madison and go with Akers, but you get a chance to see a quarterback that's new and different that you haven't seen. And what was really interesting. I'll share this and then stop. But there's the fan base is still very divided on Kirk Cousins. But after he went down, everyone's like, "Oh crap, what do we do now?" I'm like,
I know.
That's
all of a sudden, all these Viking fans that hate him. I listen to the radio here, and it's like, all of a sudden, all these Viking fans are super upset. They're like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, these are the same guys who complain about him nonstop for all the years he's been there."
You don't know what you have until you lose it, right? Exactly.
Hilarious. The guy's always been pretty damn good. So I don't know what for a team that's hasn't had many good quarterbacks in your history, I would have thought they would appreciate him a little bit more, or and on top of that, he's a very likable guy. I mean, look at him. He torn his freaking Achilles, basically knew it, sat on the cart and was like cheering his team on still before they brought him in.
Yep.
Like other guys would be, in their own head or worried about themselves. And he's just like, I'm tough enough.
I don't know about that. We're just used to watching Aaron Rodgers do that when he gets hurt. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Kirk O'Chaney is a man of the people.
Yeah, the people were joking because, they were ripping on Kirk because during preseason he was wearing his helmet on the sideline so he could hear the play calls in the helmet to help the other guys. So they said once he recovers from surgery, he'll probably be on the sideline with his helmet on. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I mean, trying to help these younger quarterbacks and make something happen with the season. He still is invested in it. So, yeah, I mean, he's a quality guy. I know you guys like quality guys that way. So,
yeah, I know another quarterback who tore his Achilles who has not been on the sidelines of his team.
Oh, but he still makes
been way longer since. He still shows up. That's because he's getting paid. So he'll go on there.
And that's about him, too. So,
yeah. And he can blabbity blab about his stuff. You know what I want to see? I want to see a Pat McAfee show with Diva Baby and Bruin Gutenkunst at the same time. Have them both on the show.
Oh, in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Let's set it up.
That's what I want to see.
Wow. There was some thought, and somebody made a good suggestion after Kirk went down, and that the Vikings tried to get another Gardner on their team.
Gardner's been stinking up the last couple of weeks.
Doesn't matter. Maybe just needs a change of scenery, man. Maybe he's trying to get to Minnesota.
I don't know what
maybe that's what it was.
He played good the first couple games that he was playing, and then the last two, he's kind of.
That was kind of the hope, but then right after somebody made that comment, they're like, "That was a dumb idea." Somebody else said, and I was like, "Actually, that's a pretty smart idea. Maybe better than what you got."
Do you think that Dobbs drafted or trading for Dobbs is like a move? Like, are they really trying to win by doing that? Like, yeah, I know he's supposed to be like a rocket scientist, super smart guy, but like
he is, yeah. Well, I mean, he was playing pretty well for the Cardinals, probably too well. So that's why they were going to bench him.
Oh, well, that's why they gave him away, apparently.
Yeah, they basically did give him away. And but he's a guy who's, he's been around the league in a lot of different teams, with Pittsburgh back and forth and Cleveland. So, but he's got decent mobility. I think they said he's third quarterback in the league in rushing yards this year, for what it's worth.
He's got. Yeah,
and he's put some good games together against some quality teams. He's probably more of a backup type guy, spot starting type of a guy. I mean, it's not like he's got a huge upside or anything, but I like to think that the Vikings have some pretty good weapons, especially if you get Jefferson back. That even an average quarterback can maybe do some things with. So. He's going to need time to get ready. So Jaron Hall's going to get the start against Atlanta this week, and then they'll probably go from there.
Well, really, that's weird because I mean, Baker Mayfield, he got traded on like a Tuesday and played on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So apparently he's not as good as Baker Mayfield, is what you're saying.
Well, I would almost anyone's better than Baker Mayfield. I think it's
I'm pretty sure the Vikings got Baker earlier in the year. I mean, I
don't think it was Baker who won that game, but he might.
Would you have taken? That's a really good question.
Mayfield.
Oh,
would you have taken Baker Mayfield if they were able to pull that off? Would you be excited about that?
I would not be excited about that at all.
Oh, over what you have?
No.
What about? Would you be excited about Jordan Love? You can have him for a piece of gum.
I love you guys, but no, I wouldn't.
As long as you agree to take Jair too.
Yeah, you can have a Jair and Jordan Love, and all we want back is a piece of juicy fruit and a whatchamacallit. I know whatchamacallits are good, so they're hard to part with. But
yeah. Oh, maybe some.
Have you had one yet?
Paper. Maybe some wavy toilet paper too.
We could take Jordan Addison then back.
Do you remember?
You guys, I have to share. So my father-in-law went back and watched the show from last week, and he said, "Oh, it's a great show. I think you guys are right on about the coaching." And then he said, "And I love the bit about the toilet paper."
Of course.
Is he a Packer fan? Your father-in-law?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a memorable.
Laura's from Wisconsin, or
Yeah.
I know you guys got married in Eau Claire, but I know you guys met in Eau Claire, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys are both from Eau Claire, or she's from Eau Claire, or what? Who knows?
She is. Yep.
Oh, all right.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Makes
Well, that's
me-
good. Tell them to freaking like our stuff, man. I'll try not
We're
to swear so
legit.
much now that I know there's, distinguished gentlemen watching our show and not just a bunch
There
of
you have it.
goofballs.
There you have it.
I mean, I know David's distinguished, but
David,
I know
is.
Rick's not. Lee's not. Well,
You know,
maybe
Rick
Lee
got-
is. I take it back,
Rick-
Lee. You're probably a distinguished gentleman as well.
Rick got to the party late, so just one more time about this. Probably the best quote of the night, and the best line you ever maybe could miss if you're not paying attention at the very beginning.
Oh no.
Aaron Jones happened to say this after the Rasul Douglas trade. This was his first comment in the locker room.
Moment I've never had like really anybody that close to me get traded.
So, I mean, within 5 seconds, Aaron Jones, you made my night, my friend. I wish they put you on the field more and give you the ball a few more times, but still, as
They
long as you can
should.
say stuff like that. Because a nice guy, Aaron Jones, nobody's going to read into that, right, Ben?
No, totally went over my head. Totally went over my head the first time I heard it.
Yeah, me either. That's really funny.
I never had anybody like that as close to get traded like that before. And we're just thinking,
Even though our quarterback just got traded.
Aaron Jones, I
The
like
guy's
you
got your
more
same
now.
name and your same birthday. But he wasn't that close to you. You shared a first name and you shared a birthday with him, but wasn't as close as Rasul Douglas was, like, apparently. He handed you the ball and threw it to you for 7 years, but he wasn't that close to you.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. I love Aaron Jones. It's going to suck when he's not a Packer next year. You know what's going to suck worse is when they have to cut him because of a salary cap and then the Vikings sign him.
Ooh.
That would be amazing.
And then
I
Aaron
have to
Jones
say,
on
I'm
the turf.
happy every time, and he's not like a terrible player, but I'm happy every time Corey Dillon's in the game because, not Corey Dillon, sorry, AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon, yeah.
Aw.
Because Aaron Jones is not. Well, there's one play they were both in the field. I'm like, oh, maybe Dillon will block for Jones or something. 'cause
Oh,
he's
and they gave it to
big.
Dillon on that play.
Yeah, they gave it to Dillon.
right. I'm like, oh, that was.
I was
dumb.
like, what?
Give Jones the ball. What are you doing?
Well, apparently Matt LaFleur said at his press conference that Aaron Jones is going to be used a lot this week. So, but a lot to him might be like 10 times. I don't know.
10 carries maybe. Wow.
Give
All
him the
right,
ball.
double digit.
Because apparently they get so far behind the sticks that they're not allowed to run their good stuff, their good plays that they worked on all week.
The good stuff. Yeah.
And I say, you know what? If you worked on these plays all week, I don't care if you're losing. Let's run the plays you worked on all week so you guys know what the hell's going on.
Right.
Get
Ben,
dumbass.
I have something just hit me right now. I remember I had a flashback to last year, okay? Because we were talking about Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
So if you recall, and we pointed this out numerous times last year, that every time the Packers ran the ball like 25 times or more, which also meant Aaron Jones got the ball quite a few times, the Packers were like, they won 7 of 8 of those games, right? Every
No,
time they did.
I hate that stat. It's a dumb stat.
But just listen to me.
Like the Randy.
Because people
ratio.
run the ball. People run the ball more when they have the lead. It's a dumb stat.
But
It's
they
a
weren't
dumb
even,
stat.
but they went basically they were mostly balanced in those games or close to balanced.
They ran way more against the Eagles and got smoked, and they ran way more against the Bills and got smoked because Aaron Rodgers knew they were going to lose, and that's why he didn't change the plays from runs to passes. And then he said, "Look, I did what you wanted me to do. You guys wanted us to run the ball. I did, and we lost. Oops!" And then they went back.
I know that's what he did.
But he did that.
All
on
I'm
purpose.
saying is they had a very good record when they ran the ball, and they did not have a good record when they didn't run the ball. And because they were way lopsided in the games they lost, like way lopsided in most of the games they lost, where it was like almost 3-1, some cases almost 4-1 passes to runs. And Matt LaFleur said after the season, right, they comb through all of it. They go over every play, every game, everything. They reevaluate and blah, 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 blah. How did, and then he came into this year with a first-time starter who they probably know is not that good. And they know they have Aaron Jones, and they know they want to run the ball. And then he still doesn't run the ball and still doesn't use Aaron Jones. Like, how did he not learn anything from last season? How did I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm not that smart. I get it. But I would think if that was clearly proven to me, and then I said that I went and looked at every damn play again and every game again and all that again, that was my job. And I evaluated it. And then I came into this season where I took away the quarterback and I had a new quarterback, and I said it's even more important that we run the ball now, right? Why are we not running the ball? And why are we not giving it to Aaron Jones?
Well, they are running the ball, but as Lee said earlier, they're running out of shotgun formation inside the freaking 5-yard line. So the AJ Dillon doesn't get ahead of steam, and of course the offensive line can't block worth the crap, and he gets tackled 2 yards in the backfield.
And I thought that was I thought Matt LaFleur wanted to be under center more. Didn't he say we're going to be under center more?
They had one play under center apparently this week, or two maybe.
The only good thing about AJ Dillon is when he has a head of steam. That's the only time he's any good,
I know.
in my opinion.
So why do they keep running him out of shotgun?
I don't.
It makes no sense.
But he's still, even if you watch him with as big as he is, and everybody says how big he is all the time, even when guys make contact with him, it's not like normally they get hit backwards. He kind of just then gets stood up.
They both kind of just stood up. Yeah, it just stops. Yeah. So he doesn't run through them.
It's weird. It's weird because he doesn't run straight up, but and he's a huge guy. But for some reason, when people hit him, instead of his momentum carrying forward and them going backward, they basically just he gets stopped almost right there.
I felt like he had a couple of plays where he carried momentum forward.
He did, and they were on pass plays when he had the ball in the passing game, and he was running along the sidelines, and it was against D-backs. But when he gets hit by a linebacker or a safety, it's not the same. It's weird.
It's just a guy that size. You would expect it to be most of the time, the majority of the time, that he is carrying his momentum across those guys, and they're basically tackling him, but falling backward. And that's not what happens most of the time. It's weird to me. I like AJ Dillon, but
something weird happened. Like I thought Najee Harris was a bigger guy, but after watching that game last night, he looked kind of dinky.
Dude,
and I don't know if that's because
running back is awesome.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's on your team. You got him for fantasy football.
I know he's good.
Anyways, but maybe it's just because he had a black outfit on, the black jersey, and made him look kind of skinny.
Oh, made him slimmer. Yeah.
Najee Harris did not look that big. Like 30 looked way bigger than he did.
That's because he's only 5'8", but he's like 215, and he's shifty.
They said he was 240.
No, 250. Well, Najee Harris 240. The little guy.
I know.
Okay.
But he's bigger he looks smaller than 30 did. And 30 was like 215. And Najee Harris is 240. And he looked way smaller. Najee Harris looks way smaller.
Wow.
And George Pickens has got great hands. If he just would get his damn toe in bounds like a dumb damn.
That guy looked like a really impressive running back. I didn't even know when I drafted him, but I was like, damn, I wish I had that guy on my team. He's good. Oh. Damn. Also wish I had other guys the Steelers had on their team. And then Mike Tomlin, credit to Mike Tomlin. God damn. Guy's just a good coach. Never had a losing record, Mo, in 16 seasons.
He's been awesome.
And even had Ben Roethlisberger to deal with.
Hired by Brad Childress, defensive coordinator for the Vikings, 1 season, and then signed away.
Chili hired
Brad Childress, the guy who flew all the way to Mississippi.
Did anyone other than
he
Favre
didn't go.
call him Chili?
Childress didn't go. Just the players went.
Come on, he went that one year.
Oh, just Longwell.
I thought it was the second year. The second year to bring Favre back, Chili went.
Because second year he went. The first year was Longwell, but the second year was Chili.
Hutchinson went. And I'm trying to remember who else went.
Jared Allen.
Mo, do you watch the O-line committee?
I do not. Should I?
It's a YouTube channel that's got a couple of guys who used to be Vikings, I guess, the offensive linemen, Jeremiah something or other, and Alex Boone or whatever used to be a 49er and he was a Viking.
Alex
Those
Boone,
two guys, they do a podcast on YouTube, and it's freaking pretty good. I like it.
Let's check it out.
It's called the O-line committee. Anybody wants to check that out? It's very good. They talk about O-line stuff. And
probably have me on
football stuff.
They should.
I don't know, but Jace, you'd like that too. You're a big old line guy, but it's pretty funny. The guy who hosts it is like a Minnesota reporter guy.
Oh, who is it?
That guy probably sucks.
I can't remember his name.
I know he probably stinks. You should let me host it. I love hosting O-line shows.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, hey, you promised me you were going to show me. You told me you're going to have all the Quinn Miners kicking Kenny Clark's ass video soon, and I didn't get any of that tonight.
Yeah, I didn't have any. Well, let's see. Want to see if I got one? Let me see if I got one. I got some Kenny Clark pass rush moves.
Oh boy.
I got some Kenny Clark run defense moves against Quinn. I don't know if they're against Quinn Miners though.
Rock did. Larry McCarron did a Rock report. TJ Slayton was the Packer guest on the show this week. Total Packers, by the way, and so Larry McCarron did a breakdown of some of his plays, and damn, yeah, he was so good. He's been really good for about a year now, since midway point of last year. He's really come on, and he's a former offensive lineman, offensive guard, Mo, that they converted to a defensive tackle. Do you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah,
He was like a fifth round pick. And also Ben Micah Hyde was a 5th round pick. Just referencing back to our last show.
Aaron Jones is 5th round pick.
Another guy, Casey Hayward, was a lower round pick that turned into something after he left the Packers. And
You just gave up your 5th round pick.
I know, but we got a 3rd, and Ben just went over our track record on 3rds. It's really great.
Yeah, Amari Rogers, Jay Sternberger. Share this video.
It's up there.
Is it up there?
Yeah, Quinn Miners, right guard. Look at his.
Okay.
Look at him.
On this running play, you're going to see a double team on TJ Slayton over here, and you're going to see a double team on Kenny Clark. You're going to watch TJ Slayton's going to take on that double team, and you're going to watch Kenny Clark get shoved on his ass. Here it is in slow motion, half speed. Now, the other thing that's really dumb about this play is when this wide receiver goes in motion, the linebackers shift their gaps over, which seems kind of stupid considering they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on this side of the ball, and there's only 1, 2, 3 guys to block those 4. And here they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, and here they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. However, there's a gap here. There's a gap here. This gap's here. However, if you double team here and you double team here, there's a gap. There's a gap. And then this guy takes on here. This actually, what they do is they do a swap maneuver. 89 takes on Keyshawn Nixon. 84 takes on Rashawn Gary, who, by the way, can't get off the 84 block tight end, but he's a high pace guy. So let's watch this play. I'm gonna see a double team on Kenny Clark. First, Quinn Myers beats the snot out of him. Then 69 beats the snot out of him, and you see here, McDuffie is coming downhill.
Yeah, he recognizes it. He's coming.
Like I said, 89 goes up to take Keyshawn Nixon out. 84 comes across to take Rashawn Gary
out. So
it's
a single block by a tight end of Rashawn Gary, dominant edge rusher?
Oh, yeah.
Dominant edge player? Okay, he pushed him back pretty good. Get off the block, dude. Close that. Where's Kenny Clark? Oh, Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark is laying on the ground because he got his ass kicked. The 69 fucking blew his ass up.
Oh, and they took out McDuffie.
Keyshawn
Miners and broke off and blocked.
And look at this giant hole. And because McDuffie now is getting Quinn Miners is taking out the McDuffie. Look at this.
Oh boy.
Look at all this. We really need our high priced Rashawn Gary to get his butt over here, but it's too late now. Look at the running back's already practically there. That's a big ass hole. I could almost get through that hole.
Oh, Gary's just a little too slow. Shocker.
And then so there you go. That was a nice Kenny Clark play. Did you like that one?
No, I didn't like it. Was
that Did he look good on that one, Mo? That was not Rudy Ford. That was Savage on the tackle.
Oh, Savage.
Yeah.
And Rashawn
really
Gary
double team, but really it needs to be Gary that makes that play.
Well, then why? Yeah, Gary against the tight end. He's got to close that.
Yeah, but he's double teamed, but he also got his ass rocked.
Well, I understand.
That's what I'm saying. If he makes $20 million a year.
He had Quinn Miners hit him first.
That I know Quinn Miners is good.
Quinn Miners rocked him right away, and then he's like, "Holy shit! Oh, ow!" And then
All right, here's another. Share this one now.
Warhawk, former Warhawk, UW Whitewater, Quinn Miners. Could have been a Packer. Should have been a Packer, by the way. PTW.
Here we got Kenny Clark. He's single blocked. He's going to get in the backfield.
I see him right in the middle there.
So he's going to do his classic thing that Mo loves, how he beats the center and gets in the backfield because he's on the center and he gets in the backfield, and then he does nothing.
Oh, nice.
There he goes.
Yeah, good. Nothing.
I should have slowed it down. Was that too fast?
That was.
It was fast. You made him look fast. You made Kenny Clark look fast. So I don't know. Was that like sped up or something?
No, I think it was herky jerky. There he is.
Oh,
Look at that. Kenny Clark. The guard's not even worried about him. They're more worried about double teaming Devontae Wyatt here.
Yeah, because he's fast and can pursue.
And there he is. Look at that. The running back's right there. Get off the block, Kenny Clark.
And Quinn pushed Colby Wooden back a couple of yards. Now he's peeling off and letting the tackle take him, and he's going to go pick off McDuffie again. God damn.
And look at all these guys that aren't blocked at this point. Kingsley Enigbare,
He's
Ford.
close.
You got McDuffie. All three of these guys.
Oh, look at Lucas Van Ness. Go back a second. Let's see how he does. I want to see his push on this play. He looks like he's standing up straight and just kind of playing with that tight end there.
Is he
That's
number
a tight
90,
end, Ben.
Van Ness?
Yeah, 90. Van Ness, number 13 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Impactful guy. Oh, that tight end's really freaking handling him. Wow, he's really doing something there.
Yeah, but we wanted to watch Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark beat his guy.
Oh,
but,
he got 4 yards in the backfield, so he got a good grade from Andy Herman.
That's as far as he can run, Ben.
It's good.
But then he got in the backfield and he did absolutely nothing. He's right there. Get off the block, Kenny Clark.
Oh, Quinn missed McDuffie. That's all right. Quay Walker this whole game really looked like, I don't know, like he didn't.
But that's
care.
Denver tape.
I know. Hey, you know what? About Quay, Rasul said that in that interview too. If you go back and find the Journal Sentinel one, he was talking about Quay because people asked him. Rasul would sit and take any question and he'd give an honest answer. So you always got to appreciate that about a dude too. And he even said in that after he talked about how Quay, talked to the team and he cared and he thought if he had done something better, if he'd made that pick, made the interception, maybe it could have, changed the whole game and all this sort of stuff. And then somebody asked him about that follow-up, it's nice to see that accountability from somebody and this and that. And he's like, oh yeah, for sure. Like if we had 11 Quay Walkers out there, we'd be 7-0. That's what he said. Or if everybody was like Quay Walker, we'd be 7-0 right now.
Rasul said that?
Yeah.
Well, what about him? I'd want to have some Rasul Douglases out there.
Well, I would too, but
I don't want to have any Rasuls out there.
He really appreciates Quay Walker, and that should give you a little, good.
You know what I appreciate? I appreciate Bruin Gutenkunst's honesty.
There you go. Yeah, he's
He's so honest.
Lee points out Miners pushes trees. He can take Kenny, no problem. Yep.
All right, it's freaking 11 o'clock. I got to work at 5 in the morning.
Time to go.
I can't do this.
Viking Moe, get you the last word.
Yeah, sorry, Mo. We didn't talk much Vikings, but you win, so screw you.
Your Vikings are 4-4, back to 500. But
are they going to win? Who they play this week? Atlanta.
They're going to win it.
Well, Atlanta just switched to Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke? Oh my God! You got Baker early in the year. Now you're going to get Heineke.
I'm going to get Heineke. I think it's going to be. Well, we'll see. It's the rookie quarterback. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll have to see.
I will say this though: your team, like the Vikings' defensive line, was aggressive, pursuing, and active in that game against Packers. And I know the Packers' offensive line is trash, but if you got guys in the front that are moving like that, run down plays, Daniil Hunter was all over the place. Like, I know you said that, whatever, Rasheed Walker may want him to look like he's a superstar, and maybe that's not going to happen again in any other game, but they looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun watching the defense improve under Flores. It's been fun to see an aggressive defense that blitzes a lot. I don't know. And it's been fun to watch.
We don't know what that's like. We don't know what that's like.
But hopefully the fun continues, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
Well, hopefully Brian Flores will be the Packers head coach next year, and then we'll be able to see some of that.
No. That would be terrible.
Packers play the Rams. Sean McVay has never beaten Matt LaFleur. He probably will this week.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll see, Ben. Now all of a sudden you have belief in the Packers that could win?
No, I don't.
No Stafford, right?
I waved the white toilet paper last week, remember? It's over. I knew it was going to happen before. I was like, nah, there's no chance. It's over.
I think the Packers do win this week, actually, because Keyshawn Nixon makes some big plays, because he's just going to say, F it, I'm going after any play that I see in front of me. And he's probably going to make a couple of big ones.
He's probably going to give up a couple of big ones, too.
Yeah, he might. Because
we're going up against Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakuda, whatever the fart that guy's name is, and they're freaking going nuts.
Yeah, I know.
That rookie has been dropping a lot of passes, though, lately. So
is he?
Yeah.
Did he drop as many passes as our guys do?
Well, I guess I wasn't counting all of them, but
well, you said Aaron Jones dropped the pass, even though the ball was thrown like dog crap.
He still dropped the pass.
Dude, what do you expect him to do? Teleport freaking 5 yards ahead?
Hit him in the
running backwards and then jump in the air
Aaron Jones
extra
to make
3
those
feet?
plays.
It's hard
He
when you
does
get
too.
twisted around like that, but yeah, it is a play
tough.
he's got to make.
Yeah.
It's still a play he's got to make, bro.
There's only
There's
one
just-
guy
It
would
had
have
to be
made that
that hard,
catch.
but yeah.
Sterling Sharp.
Come on, Devontae could have made it.
No, he couldn't have.
Oh,
Sure, he could. He's got good body control. He can contort.
Nah, he wouldn't be able. He wouldn't be able to do that. He's not quick enough.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fair. Well, Viking Moe, we wish you some sort of luck during the rest of the season whenever you don't play the Packers. But I still think Lions are probably going to take this division, and I actually kind of hope the Lions are the NFC Super Bowl representative against the Bills, and then that would be pretty fun.
And the Bills win.
And then one of those two teams has to win.
right. Somebody has to win.
I know that you would like to see the Vikings in that matchup because then
I would.
at least that would be a chance that the Vikings
Yeah.
could win their first Super Bowl. But I don't without Kirko.
Without Kirk,
I don't
they
think-
got no shot.
Yeah, they can't.
Kirkle's the man.
He's really good. He's very accurate passer and very good at playing quarterback when he doesn't have much pressure on him.
Lee is delusional.
Only if Stafford is out. What is he at? Green Bay winning? He's got winning 23-17 if Stafford is out, Lee says. Well, okay, Lee. I say
Lee,
Keyshawn Mix
there's
makes two big plays, one defensively and one return for a touchdown, and the Packers win 14-10.
okay.
Thanks.
That I could see.
Thanks to
There's
Keyshawn.
the Packers can't score 23 points. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lee. They can't score 23 points. It ain't gonna
Devontae
happen.
Wyatt's going to blow him up and crush their quarterback. Or not Devontae Wyatt. Well, Devontae Wyatt too, I hope, and TJ Slayton. Kenny Clark won't, but those other two guys might.
I'm not picking the Packers until I see life from Matt LaFleur's play calls.
All right.
And at this point, I don't see it. So they're losing.
How about some Luke Musgrave in the flat?
No, I want Luke Musgrave down the field. What are we doing?
Musgrave in an intermediate route because that's what Love likes to hit is the intermediate route. The flat's no good. We've seen what happens when he throws.
You know, the only good news is I can't watch the game live because I live in Minnesota and we have to watch stupid Vikings because that's what we're going to get here.
Sorry, Ben.
So, but I can listen to the radio broadcast. So I can listen to
How's
Larry. I don't know. I haven't heard them when they're this bad. I did the last game I listened to. I think it was the Lions game on the radio.
that?
I think, and they were depressed. Larry was really depressed.
Oh man, Lee doesn't want to start Watson. Lee, he's our second round pick. We got to start him.
We got to
Actually,
start
we
Wicks.
Wicks is
Wicks
he's
and
okay.
Heath and, and Clifford.
Clifford
Clifford to Heath was a great combo in the preseason. Let's see some Clifford to Heath and Wicks. Just go all young and frickin' Wilson in the backfield. I don't give a crap anymore. All the rookies. Let's go.
Look at the riches
rookie.
we have. Viking Moe wishes he had Sean Clifford right now and play quarterback for him.
Probably
Maybe.
does.
He's a winner. He's a gamer.
winner.
A
He's a
gamer
winner.
and a winner. Gamer and a winner. I'll take that guy as my quarterback.
Plus,
Well, I hope you guys
Bruin
get to see him.
Gutekunst drafted him in the 5th round, so you know he must be good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Bruin
good
knows
number.
his stuff. He doesn't know any of his players' names, or at least how to pronounce them properly, but he knows 5th round picks.
Congrats on the win though over the Packers, Viking Moe.
Viking
Thanks,
Moe.
buddies.
Sorry our
Thanks.
team stinks, and sorry Kirko got hurt by himself.
Yeah,
It's-
that part
Wasn't
sucks.
it did
wasn't your
suck. We
fault.
like Kirk. We don't want him to be hurt, and also because it gave Kenny Clark a sack, which is also bullshit.
Yeah,
It's a
bullshit.
terrible play all around.
God.
Kenny Clark didn't do anything, and then Kirkle just fell right in front of him, and Kenny Clark's like, and then he acted like he did something good. And I'm like, really, freaking Kirkle fell right in front of you, you dingus.
All right,
Kirk.
everybody have a good weekend, or try to. Don't take your Packer football too seriously, and life will be better.
All right, I'm leaving right away, you bros. I love you guys.
All
We'll
right.
catch you
Love
later.
you.
Love
I'm
you.
going to
See you
bed.
later.
Good to see you.
Peace out, everybody.
See
Right.
yous.
Still hold me. Did I treat you? Got to find